Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to the Film Busters podcast. The film show with no filters, no prisoners taken, loads of disagreements, but one hell of a love for cinema.
If you want to hear three friends ridiculing each other for an hour or so regarding their taste in films, then you have come to the right place.
In each episode, one of the team picks a film for us to discuss. It could be anything from a recent cinema release to an all-time classic.
So, strap in and get ready to get mad or get vindicated as we guide you through the murky world of being a film geek.
If you like what you hear, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram using @FilmbustersPod. You can also find each of our individual accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters Adam.
And I'm at Filmbusters Ben.
If you want to use your eyes instead of your ears, you can also visit the website at filmbusterspod.co.uk.
And if busting makes you feel good, you can also support us at patreon.com/filmbusters for exclusive content.
Or shoot over and get some groovy merchandise at society6.com/filmbusters.
Alright, can we just get on with this now, please?
Filmbusters. So I've got Corona.
That's
What
right.
a shame.
Yeah,
What a way to start the new year, Paul.
I know.
Exactly.
I know. Luckily,
You mean to go on?
I'm coming out the other end of it, so
Coming out the other end of it, you've only had it for 24 hours.
I know, but I've had a 24 hours of horribleness.
Explain
now-
your symptoms for all to hear.
So it started Tuesday. So this say day one. I started getting like I kept going like that, and I was like, okay, something's coming. I'm getting something.
Something wicked this way comes.
Yeah, it came to the evening of the first day, and I was like, I'm definitely feeling like something's happening now. My body started to feel a bit like, ugh. Had the worst night's sleep leading into day two, and I pretty much didn't sleep. I was just tossing and turning.
Tossing your dick.
I
You were
had
just tossing, you mean?
Yes, very good. I thought Adam would go there, but not you, Ben.
He kind of went there. He went there
both
first.
He did. And so I had to go downstairs, lay on the sofa because I just wasn't comfortable in bed, and then had a whole day feeling like I had the worst hangover ever. My skin felt all prickly and horrible, like I had flu-y symptoms. And then by the evening, I was like, no, I'm going to come out the other side of this now, and now I feel about 60% better.
Okay.
So it is like when you get the vaccine and the jab, basically.
Yeah, that's basically what I felt like for most of the day yesterday. Like,
Well, the vaccine's surely just a bit of COVID in your body, isn't it? Like your body gets a little bit of
Well,
it.
that's it. They stick it in so that your body has to fight it, so you
Yeah.
get the symptoms, essentially, of how you would be if you got it.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that you're only getting the mild ones. Hopefully that means you got Omicron then. Omicron's the mild one, right?
Yes.
Delta's the
Yeah,
one that's
indeed.
meant to really kick your ass.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
and Zoe?
Zoe had the worst headache for the whole day. She was in such a bad way. She was like laying in the kitchen against the radiator because she just didn't know what to do with herself.
Surely a radiator is not a good place to lie against.
No, because she was shivering.
Get the chills.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
you're like shivering, but you're cold, but you're hot at the same time. You just don't know what to do with yourself. And she had the
Yeah.
worst headache, and she's like breaking down in tears most of the time because she couldn't cope.
Is the dog just thinking, what the fuck's happened here?
Luckily, one of our neighbours has taken the dog, so we don't.
for the-
Oh, so you
obviously,
don't have to walk.
we're not allowed to go out, are we? So
Can you not
Yeah.
go out for a walk?
no, you're not allowed. So
I thought you
someone's
could go
taken
out.
The dog, luckily,
I thought you could
Go
walk.
out at like 1 a.m.
nope.
So is it weird not having Memphis around?
Yeah, he's only gone this morning, so
No.
hasn't been that long yet.
Why wouldn't you let me look after Memphis?
Because he'll be dead.
Yeah,
I'll take
exactly.
Memphis and Woody off you.
Ask a silly question, you'll get a straight
imagine
answer.
Imagine giving my son to Adam, letting
Yeah.
him look after. You'll forget to feed him.
Well, he'd feed himself, wouldn't he?
What do you feed a 2-year-old?
Peppers.
So this morning he had toast with cashew butter on, and this very good
What
jam.
a fucking hipster.
This very good jam from France, which is like sugar free. It's just basically the fruit pulverized,
Oh yeah,
and he loves it. I have it on my toast as well. It's very nice.
that's good.
The thing is with jam is the cheaper the better, in my opinion.
No, because then it's
No,
full of
that's
shit, mate.
nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just full of sugar.
You're eating
Yeah.
Hartley's, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that preserve, mate. The one with that looks French but isn't really French. They
With the
just
little
stick the
red
label on
and
it
white
with
top.
the italic shit on the font, make it look more fancy than it really is. Well, good. We're glad that you come through it very quickly. We very
First
nearly didn't do
Filmbusters
this
to have-
recording.
Yes.
Lucky. Lucky
I
you're
know.
fine today.
If you were
Especially
gonna-
after you cancelled it the last week as well. We would done a whole extra week of films to throw in here.
Well, COVID's thrown out the whole fucking schedule, isn't it? We were meant to record this before Christmas. Listeners, we're recording this on the day before New Year's Eve now.
With New Year's Eve.
Yes. When you hear this, it will be 2022. So Happy New Year to all of you people.
Happy New Year,
Happy New
you
Year.
filthy animals.
And if you consider this the first episode of the year, let's take this moment in time very quickly to just explain something we're going to do in 2022. We've told our patrons, but I don't think we've mentioned it to the listeners.
we haven't.
You
The
haven't told
casual
me.
listener, if you'd like to know what we're going to do going forward, we're slightly changing up the way that we do our rounds of film. So as you all know, normally how it goes is Paul picks a film, Adam picks a film, I pick a film, and then one of our patrons usually has a film to pick. We're going to start calling them rounds, and in each round, we are going to be dictated, for the most part, by the film one of our patrons picks in each round, and all of our selections will be from the year that film came out. So, our next episode, can we say? I guess we can, because
Yeah,
it is the next
say.
episode. So, our next episode, our first official episode of 2022, is RoboCop, and we're going to be joined by Jamie Russell to discuss RoboCop 1987. So, what that means, dear listeners, is following that episode, Paul will pick a film from 1987 for us to discuss. So will Adam, and so will I. So 4 films from 1987. And then we reset the next round and pick a new year. We're always picking the same years. And I think it will be fun because it will force our hands to pick some films we might not otherwise pick. And it will stop Adam picking everything from the last 3 years as well.
Yeah.
And all
get
the safe
glory,
bets.
Throw it at the top of the list.
I want something from like 1951. And I want Adam to have to pick something.
I'm pretty sure Julio will do it. He pulled out Limelight, didn't he? So.
True.
Is that 51? If that's 51, you got a fucking
Well,
good
no, it was
memory.
only. Well, it wasn't 51, but it was early, wasn't it? It was
No,
old.
50,
we have to check.
56?
We have to check now.
56, I'm saying. 50.
But it only came out in
Tree
like the
50.
70s.
Tree
didn't it?
50. I need about a tree 50.
It only came out in the 70s, though, didn't it?
Oh,
What is it?
52, Adam.
Oh,
Close.
so close. So close.
I mean, it was just the oldest film I thought we've done. So. Is
Is
that the oldest film we've done?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. I mean, and let's not be silly now. We're not going to start just picking old fucking years just for the sake of it,
No.
because it'd be very tough. I think
It's
all
got to
the
be natural.
best will in the world, if we went
The
for
only
like
thing with the old years
1927
as well
and all
is
did
as
that,
well
that wouldn't be good.
Is it might be quite a tough. If it's 3 episodes in a back-to-back of an old film, black and white, it's going to be it's not like a one-off. It's going to be 4 episodes effectively, isn't
Well,
it? So-
listen, we'd be dictated by the state of play. The
I know.
idea
We have no
is
choice here.
Really, the reason we want to do it is to show a bit of texture in filmmaking, because you can get so many different styles of film from the same fucking year, and also commonalities as well, which will be fun to explore. Anyway, that's for you
Absolutely.
guys to look forward to in the new year, listeners. And thanks for
Wonderful.
continuing to listen to
Can't
our
wait for that.
nonsense.
And signing up and paying for us to chat shit to you.
That's just the patrons. The casual listeners don't give us nothing, so we don't owe them anything.
Right, so what are we doing today?
I'm going to show
You're
you this.
probably
Is what I'm going to do. This is from the little cracker.
This is
That's nice.
especially for
Not everyone
patron
from camera,
viewers.
remember?
It's got my initials as well. Oh yeah, sorry. This
Did you
this
put
is
the B on it so people knew it was yours?
Chattering Tooth. From the
Very good
crackers.
chattering.
Is this the new Arnie now?
Yeah.
You've got Alan Carr with his massive mouth.
Yeah, just
instead.
Alan Carr's mouth now.
Keep chatting away down there.
Max isn't liking that.
No, I'm not liking it.
Sorry, it'll end there.
Right, so today we are doing our best films of 2021 episode. So you've all listened to it before, I hope. If not, then this is what we're doing. We're talking through our top 10 favourite first-time watches of 2021. So that could be from any year, not just 2021. Then we run through that, take our turns, and then we're going to our honourable mentions of 2021, which is basically our top 11 to 20 of 2021 films released in 2021, and then we go on to our top 10 of 2021 films that are released in 2021.
Incredible. What a great way of explaining it all.
And that's what we're doing.
That's what we are doing. Wonderful. I look forward to hearing. And I'll tell you what, this year, I've intentionally, for the most part, tried to avoid ever looking at any of you guys' lists and stuff, because I want to hold out for this end of year year in review. Isn't it exciting? I like this part because we're right at the end and we're going to start afresh in a couple of days. There'll be some geeks out there that understand, some letterbox geeks who get this thrill of going into a clean year with
I
nothing
love
in
it.
there yet, and you don't know if
Adam,
the first
don't
film you watch will still be there at the end or not.
Adam don't do shit, so like. He just
I know.
doesn't
I was
idea.
actually thinking of going cinema tomorrow or this evening after we've done this record, and I'm thinking, oh, do I or do I wait next year so then it's already on my
No,
next?
it's not even the new year yet, Adam.
I know, but I could go and see The Matrix tonight, a 21 film, and it could be in my top film, but it's got to go to first time
Well,
watches next year.
Let's do a caveat up front. I have only one film that I'm yet to watch this year, and I know that we're going to be watching it on New Year's Eve tomorrow, and it's the third in the before. I think After Sunset.
Oh yeah.
That film, and well, we'll talk about it later. But if anything we watch in the next 24 hours overrides our list, we'll have to record a little voice memo that Paul can add in.
Or we just add it next year.
No, clean slate.
Adam don't follow the letterbox rules.
No, he doesn't.
No, but this is the Film Busters rule here, not we just off letterbox.
We got to also be ready for Adam to be saying some films in his first time watches that are actually from 2021. That we've all got on our 2021 list.
Yeah, exactly. And to be listing films that didn't come out in 2021. Oh,
Well, there is
dear.
a couple of films that are on that line of 2020, but
Well, it's UK release, mate. That's what
Yes.
it's about. It's UK release.
It's fine. Whatever will be, Adam.
All right.
what will be?
Should we get straight into this?
Let's do it.
No,
We've
just
had enough
double check.
waffle. It's time to talk about films.
Let me just say one thing first. Actually, you can get exclusive video of this episode if you actually become a patron
Yes.
at www.patreon.com/filmbusters, and you become a wonderful patron who gets exclusive episodes. You can feature on the podcast. You can suggest
We have a
films
wonderful
to
gang
us
there.
to do. Yeah, we got a wonderful gang. We got the likes of Jamie Russell, who's going
Yes,
to be
we have.
featuring in our first episode of 2022.
Jamie,
We do.
please.
All right. The volume was down for the beginning of his soundbite.
You caught Ben off guard as well, didn't
I
we?
We
We just went into that bit. We
Wasn't
also have
expecting it.
Steve from Movie Drone while Ben sorts out his thing.
My wife.
He's your wife now.
For
So
some reason.
if
We also have Julio from the Contrarians.
My name is Julius.
Close. Close.
we have Katie and Oti from the For Your Reference podcast.
Australia.
Very good.
We also have Phil Barantini, who directed Boiling Point.
Boris.
Boris.
Yeah, British. So.
Oh, British. Right.
We also have Nerd Revert from the land of Arkansas or America, which also has the state of...
California.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah, can you remember who we're on to now?
We also have Luke Human, our newest
Hello,
patron.
cutie pie.
He's a little cutie pie, he is.
Yes, our newest member of the gang. And we also have Fiona Stewart.
How are you doing, old buddy?
And finally, last but not least, we have the wonderful runner-up of our patron quiz of the year,
Oh, yes.
Sean Panda Nicholson.
Howdy, stranger.
There we go. So a little greeting from Marnie for all of you. That's the last time you'll ever hear him on this podcast, is my vow to you as
Who
well.
are you getting the next one next year?
Well, it's nothing to do with me. It's just whoever wants to come in the studio, isn't it? We'll have to see who comes along. But
It's actually Arnie.
thanks for everything, Arnie. We appreciated it. You were very funny the first time you appeared on the podcast, and people may have thought they wanted more of you, but with every appearance, you got less and less funny to the point where it was like fucking
We just
flogging a
put you in
dead
the patron
horse.
section.
Yes.
I've got to say, I do really enjoy the
on.
Arnold Schwarzenegger during our reading of the patrons we have.
That bit works. Yeah.
Yeah, that bit works.
It works, even if there are some tenuous connections that he makes when names are read out. Anyway, boys,
His mind works in mysterious ways.
it does. Right, shall we get to talking about films at long last?
Let's do
it. So we're going to tackle this in the Filmbusters order we normally do, which is me, Adam, and Ben. I think for our first time watches, we're just going to read out our 10 and then go on to the next person. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. Whoopsie. Yeah.
Ben smashing up the gaff.
Yeah.
So,
That's such a British response to whoopsie. I don't never say whoopsie, never. I don't know why I did then.
whoopsie.
Because I wasn't sure what was happening.
So, I'll tackle my number 10. Here we go.
Yes.
This is an episode we have done on the podcast,
Ooh.
and it is Bride of Reanimator.
Oh,
Oh, yes. So hang on, remind me, is that the second or the third?
That's the second one.
Second
That's
one.
the one where they put together the body, and it's she's got all the gauze as her gown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's that little eyeball thing that runs around with on fingers.
Yeah. It's very much a you film,
And
as we
there's the dog
established.
the dog that waves its hand. That's a human arm.
Yeah. The thing is, now that some time has passed, I don't look back on that with any great disdain. It's just that first one felt so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second one went into that Evil Dead territory.
I get it.
I can
get
see
it.
why you would love it so much, though.
Lovely. But if you want to check that out, we've done an episode on it. Bride of Reanimator is a few months ago. We did
Now-
the whole run of them.
What was the name of our man? Can you remember? We knew his name. I've forgotten it.
What, the guy who from Reanimator?
Yeah. What was his? What was
name?
the character's name? Terrible.
Howard Herbert.
Herbert.
Howard Webb.
This is terrible. He was a big part of our May this year. All May, all we could do was talk about this man.
Herbert West.
Herbert
Herbert
West.
at least.
Fantastic
Sounds
name.
like a fucking serial killer, Fred West.
Dr. Herbert West.
Ah, Herbert West, yeah. You filled our May right up. We had much love for you then, man. Even with that terrible third one.
Yes, indeed. And then we go to my number 9. This is Baby Teeth. This was an early watch of
yeah.
2021.
This was on my list until quite recently, and I don't know if I've removed it or not. It might be on my list still.
Well, don't reveal it now. Don't reveal your hand.
But this
This
was a wonderful film. So heartbreaking. I
I
cried
think it
my
just
eyes
dropped
out.
out towards the end. Yeah,
Cried my eyes out. Who cried at this film?
I
I didn't cry, but I felt a lot
was
of emotions.
right on the brink. I was right on the brink. It's the Ben Mendelsohn scene at the end. We won't spoil it for anyone, but towards
Yes.
the end, on the
Yeah.
beach, that's...
Yes. We're, just so everyone knows, we're not going to go into spoilers for any of these films because
No.
we will ruin them for you.
Particularly the 2021 releases, because we're aware that there may be a bunch that you guys haven't seen. So
Even
this,
we haven't seen them.
yes, we'll keep this entire thing spoiler free.
Well,
Yes.
best.
Yes, but Baby Teeth, I'm very glad that that's there because that was a wonderful film.
It was wonderful.
Very lovely,
Just-
very indie, and it's good that the indie films get their
day in
appearances
the
on this
sun.
top 10 list.
It
Absolutely,
was very, very close to my top. Probably like number 11 on my list.
I love
Well,
it.
And it's just so everyone knows, it's just about parents basically coming to terms with the fact that they're. Is that actually? Do you know that for the whole time that she's dying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you'd know pretty. Yeah.
I didn't want to say a spoiler, but I'm pretty sure you know the whole time.
I think it's terminal.
Yes,
I think it's terminal.
And she's a bit of a
Yes.
runaway, isn't she? She's like,
she's a bit of a wild child, rebelling against her parents and the idea of what's about to happen
Dying.
to her, and it's wonderful.
Yeah,
Very
it's
sad.
very sad. Very great performances. Ben Mendelsohn is wonderful. Feels bad saying that because, like, what's her name? Eliza Scanlon is the lead, but yeah, it's the relationship with Ben Mendelsohn that. Yeah,
That's where you're getting your heartfelt emotion from. That's why it resonates.
great film. What are these, by the way? These two films that you've picked. What scores are they? 8.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you when it gets to the 9s.
Okay.
Number 8. Ben's not gonna be happy.
I'm looking forward to not being happy with many of the picks from you two today.
It's Paddington 2.
Oh, that is bad, mate. I can't believe you've done that.
I really enjoyed it.
I was gonna
I
watch it
wasn't
the
so
other day,
fond of
but I
the
haven't.
first one, but I very much enjoyed the second one. I just love all the British actors in it. I think it's very. I just love the family element.
Is it
to
full
It's
of
very
charm?
nice. It's full of
British
charm. It's
charm.
just very nice.
It's full of bullshit.
It's
All of
bullshit.
it.
It's bullshit, but it's whether you want to embrace that bullshit to be like, oh, that was quite nice.
I know, but why should we? Yeah, but that's like, well, you could embrace a lot of things that are terrible if you just go, yeah, but
but-
you just need to embrace
but-
it.
Ben,
It's
it's
like-
not terrible.
It's like
is it?
certain
It's
death.
not terrible.
I'm just going to accept it.
it's not
It's
like
not
they're
like-
paedophiles,
It is.
isn't
It
it?
is
Yeah.
terrible.
It's not like embracing
It
the
is.
mass killings of people by a bear.
I'll tell you why I don't like it. And I'm
Saccharine.
saying this without also. Oh, there's two absolutely beautiful birds that have just landed on the telephone wire outside.
Look at that. Look, that is the embodiment of Paddington 2 right there.
Wow, we never get them, and the way they go, lovely.
Look, exactly that. Look, you just watch this film, it's there and it's gone, and it's like, oh, that was nice.
That's what the film would like. The reason that I don't like it is because it is just too twee, too whimsical, too saturated, overly sentimental. And the thing is, the first Paddington was fine because it did that line. It was like, okay, it's a thing about a bear. All the people say, oh, it's about a bear. What do you expect? It's just a little kids film. Fine. The first Paddington did that fine. The second one laid it on so thick. And I'm telling you that it is made by people, I'm sure. If it's not made by people who are Tories, then it appeals to people who are Tories most of all. Because everyone lives in the most expensive fucking houses. Everyone wears suits. Everyone talks like a Tory. Everyone acts like a Tory.
He lives in Paddington.
Everything is whitewashed.
Well expensive area.
Yes, exactly. And everyone is whitewashed. Even the people of colour who are in the film are whitewashed. In speaking very perfect British and all that.
Like white people.
I couldn't stand it.
That's the point, because these people
couldn't
need
stand
to
it.
embrace the bear, and they were very stuck up. And it's like this little bear comes in, and they make their hearts warm.
I mean, it was total crap. Absolute guff. And it's something I cannot just bring myself to enjoy just because it's cute. The first one was cute. The second one was highly annoying.
Fine. I like this one better than the first
appealed.
one.
Do you know what? You can imagine Boris Johnson sitting down with his however many kids he's got and watching that film. That's it. Because there's nothing about it that even remotely offers a sense of humanity.
I'm sure
that
he
we can
enjoys
relate
Glenn Ross as well, because he's like, oh, I love the business.
He wouldn't understand that, mate. He would not understand it. Far too out of his element. Wow, I was not expecting Paddington 2. Fuck that cunt. When we went out for Jenny's birthday up in London, we were walking the canals, a little Venice up in London, and there is a Paddington statue that was there
outside
right at the beginning
Paddington
of the walk.
Station.
Who's there?
I had a nice picture
You know that
of
Paddington
it
statue
punching him
there?
up.
Yeah, it's the one that's the velvet one underneath the bridge, isn't it?
That's correct.
Outside
Yeah,
the
it's
boat,
velvet.
yeah.
Felt nice. Brought a stirred up animosity within me, but I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Did you go to the little Paddington shop in Paddington train station?
What do you think?
I went in there and bought my mum a Christmas
Well,
decoration.
all the
of a Paddington
merchandise.
bear. Paddington has got his little sack of present that he's going to give out to all the little children.
But I'll tell you this much: I ain't got a problem with Paddington. Paddington, fine. Paddington, it's the Paddington 2 movie I got a problem with. Paddington, the
watched the
cartoon,
first
way
one?
back is fine. The first one was fine. It's not particularly great. It's good.
Would you see Paddington 3 if we
No,
were
of
to do a
course not.
podcast on it?
Absolutely, I wouldn't. Absolutely, I wouldn't. I would. I wish that I could be more articulate about why I don't like it. But I've almost whitewashed it from my memory. All I know is that I felt deep hatred for it when it ended because it felt so sinister in its intentions.
I was actually going to watch it over Christmas, but I never got around to it.
I think so because of how it was presented. It didn't feel universal to me, man. It just
It's
felt.
just like it sounds like your evil origin story. It's like
Oh, I hated it
what went
so
wrong?
much.
Then
So
watched
much.
Paddington 2 and went on a rampage.
I'll say it now. There won't be a film I disagree with more on this entire recording than you putting that on
Everything
there.
else is fine, I'm sure.
Yeah. Whatever Marvels you've got lined up, even that won't reach the Paddington 2 levels.
You've just dropped him down, and now you can put in everything you want.
I think everything else you'll be on board with.
All right, let's have it.
Okay, so number 7 is, well, this is very much going to be on board with Adam. Kung Fury.
Oh yes, what the 30-minute
Yeah,
YouTube?
30-minute, short, wonderful,
Great fun, innit?
great fun. You haven't seen this, Ben, have you?
Mm-mm.
It's just absolutely ludicrous. Like,
If it was anything longer than 30 minutes, I don't think it would work. But the fact it is so short, is
Yeah.
you just can ride with it for 30 minutes, very easy.
like for such a clearly
back-
like a low budget,
is
it
it
looks
Kung
so
Fu?
well done.
Kung Fu soldiers go back in time and kill Hitler, don't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
how can you go
ludicrous.
wrong with the concept,
Yeah.
I suppose?
And it's just so, like, everything's just
Ridiculous.
green screen. It's just like,
Is it
really well
Velocipaster
done.
levels of
No, it is-
silliness?
It's
or?
got
No,
a bit
no.
more of a production value
Yeah,
to it.
it's
I'd
got
say.
better production value. It's not
it's
trying
also-
to be silly.
but it
It's
is
really well done, but it's silly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's on
Why
YouTube,
did
I think.
you bring that up, Adam, in the past? You brought it up because we were talking about something else.
Best B movies, I think maybe.
Right.
Or was one of the ones I maybe forgot on my B movie list, and someone else mentioned it.
Yeah. Well, if it's only
I
30
think someone
minutes,
else mentioned it, and I completely forgot about it.
I'll give it a whirl. I'm sure I said that when you added it in your last end of year list a year ago. I do try and get round to these films that you put on your end of year list.
There's also so many on my watch list now. I forget why they've been added on there sometimes.
I know, but basically everything you boys bring up today that I haven't seen, I'll add to my watch list
Okay. Next,
as my love letter to you.
thank you.
And
Number
take it
6.
from my heart with love, in the generosity of spirit it's intended, as a friend to you, which
He's
is much
waffling
more
like he does at the
compassionate
end of the
than
podcast.
Paddington 2, is what I'm trying to say. That's deep human connection I'm trying to give you.
if I'm ever going to bring
You're
it back
ignoring
now,
it in favour of Paddington
if
2.
I'm ever going to bring it back now,
Just mute him, Paul.
it's now. My number 6 is Gaza.
Oh, well, yes, of course, Gaza, yeah. Well, you can't go wrong. Yeah.
Yes.
That brings it back.
Yes, that brings it back.
Can't joke about that either.
No, you can't joke about that. It's very serious.
What did you think about that documentary?
Devastating, but it's like just see it, just an eye on the real people rather than just hearing news stories. It's like this is the people in this place and like what they're actually going through, and they're still trying to live their lives through it all. And it's very beautiful, very sad, wonderful.
Yes, it was very sad. Even though you know the story, very sad because it takes, because it focuses on those humans there that are so often just statistics and numbers and like, oh, the poor Palestinians, and that's all you hear. Just collectively, Palestinians have died. It's kind of refreshing that like almost the first half or 2/3 of the documentary is more about just living with them and seeing what they're doing in their lives and the variety of people and how vibrant and alive they are as a people.
Yeah.
And this isn't really a fucking spoiler. We know what fucking happens in Palestine. Then the bombs drop and these characters that you fucking
how
got
they've
to know.
changed.
It's like fucking hell, man. Horrendous, absolutely horrendous stuff, but wonderful documentary.
Yeah.
Adam,
Go
you should
seek
see
out.
that. You'd like that.
It's on my watch list. I just haven't got around to watching it because it's not on a streaming service or anything. That's why I haven't really.
How did
You
you
have to
see
rent
it,
it on
Paul?
YouTube.
It must be because I watched it.
It's on Prime, I think. Yeah, Gaza's on
I
Prime.
just looked at it just now. When you mentioned it, just to double check I hadn't watched it, but 'cause I've watched quite a few documentaries like that, didn't I?
It's not about music, so Adam wasn't interested.
Yeah.
It wasn't about a band from the 60s.
I've actually got 3.
What was that?
documentaries
What
in
was
a row,
that? An
actually.
8? That was
9.
an 8 as well.
That's a 9. That's a 9.
Okay, 9.
That's my first 9.
Right.
The Paddington 2 was your first 9.
No. That was an 8.
Okay, good. So that you have redeemed it then.
And then number 5, another documentary. This is a 9 out of 10 again. This is The Act of Killing. I've told you about this before.
Yes.
Horrendous.
Herendon.
Kate
Horrendous
Kate
acts
Herendon. Isn't
of
that
genocide.
Jamie's student?
Yeah. Horrendous acts of genocide in Indonesia. And you're basically faced with all the people who carried out the killings and the way they're laughing and showing how they did it and how they used to rape children, and it's absolutely eye-opening, horrendous stuff. And I think you just have to watch it to believe the stuff they come out with. It's disgusting.
And this is the second one. And you
This
watched
is
the second one first.
So no, I think this is the first one,
All right.
and the second I watched the second one first. Yeah. So that is the
Oh, you're talking about the first one, are you?
yes,
Now you're
yes,
talking about the
yes,
first
yes.
one. Right.
That was The Look of Silence.
Oh, yeah,
let
I've heard of
me
that one.
fact check that.
Yeah, it is The Look of Silence.
It is that, isn't
Something
it?
very close to that.
I can't say that. Look of Yeah, The Look of Silence. I was correct. Yeah, The Look of Silence, which is more of a personal one about the victims and the son of one of the victims who goes round and speaks to the people who did these atrocities.
Yes.
But both of them are very, very, very good and eye-opening about what happened in those times in Indonesia. I'll check
What?
it.
Why does it not sound very interesting though?
I think you have to literally watch it
Yes.
to actually get it.
It sounds
I know-
like one
I
of
know
those
you
things
probably
I don't
don't
want to watch, but you want to watch it. Like you have to kind of.
It is eye-opening for the history of that country.
I don't know much about it, to be honest with you. Yes.
Yeah, that is what's good about it, and it's also like why does nobody know about this?
Yeah,
Oh
horrendous.
well, we know that
you hear
the
a
West
lot of like
suppress
Cambodia,
everything.
don't you? And Pol Pot and all of that lot. But
Yeah. So yeah, check that
Okay.
out. My number 4, another 9 out of 10. This is Gleason. I've also told you guys about this. This
Another
is
documentary.
the guy suffering with ASL.
this one came
ASL.
up in an end of month, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yeah, and it touched my heart because it's about the guy's literally like wasting away in front of your eyes. And he's documenting everything for his kid who's about to be born. He finds out he's basically got this disease around the same time that he found out that his wife was pregnant, and it's him just documenting who he was as a person. He's still alive, but he can't do anything for himself, and I can't even speak. Everyone it's like 24-hour. You got to look after him, and just like tackling this like inevitable fate, and it's horrible, and just the family dealing with it as well, and how it affects them. It's very beautiful, and I cried my eyes out.
Yes, I can tell the way you're talking about it.
I very much recommend.
What did you see that one on?
That's on Amazon, I think.
Amazon, yeah.
Gleason.
He was a pro footballer.
American football player.
So that's how you can tell that it must be a good documentary, because if you're watching a documentary about someone who used to be a pro footballer, that's very not
but that's
great for you.
It's not our football, is it?
Oh, so you like American football? You Philistine, fuck off to America. It's Monster Man. God, you could tell he had COVID then with that laugh. That was a dirty Sid James laugh. Listen to that. Oh, COVID. What a fucking beast.
All over that microphone.
That's coming down our channels, mate. That's coming through our microphone.
That microphone needs to be quarantined for a year.
Filth. How could you like American
this
football?
Microphone.
Yeah.
Just put a wipe over the top of it now.
This fucking beast, mate.
My number three. It was the lockdown horror film Host. I thought this was wonderful. I very much enjoyed this film.
That was good.
Yeah. I thought it was great, and I, not for a long time, had a film actually had me on the edge of its seat, a horror film, anyway. And there are some missteps, as we talked about, Ben, where they show, I don't think any time they really show something
in
a horror film that you go, isn't it better not to know? The only time it does work is at the end of Wreck, the Spanish horror film.
Yeah, that works.
Very much works.
That's very scary,
Yeah, that's very scary. But wonderful. If you don't know what it is, I'm sure everyone knows what it is now. It is over Zoom. They're doing a
like this, laid out like this, seeing it like this the whole time.
What are they doing? They're doing a what do you call it?
A seance or something. Not a Ouija board, but some sort of seance, with a guided professional coming in to do it.
And they awaken some sort of spirit demon that messes with all these people on Zoom, and the whole time you're just watching them on Zoom, and it's very entertaining.
I'll tell you why I think it works is because it's British.
Yeah.
And I think listening to Americans, but listening to young Americans on that Zoom setting would have been tedious, and I probably wouldn't have made it through. So having a mostly British cast helped it. Quite natural acting for the most part as well, and the suspense of not really knowing what was going to happen throughout helped it. For me, it lost it in that final 15 to 20 minutes when you started getting people walking around with their laptops.
It's only like an hour long, isn't it?
Yeah, but the premise was set up well, but the last 15, 20 minutes, they do that typical thing that they do in found footage, where they're, in other films, you can understand why they're still filming because they've been filming the whole time, but this involves them using their laptops, facing their laptops away from them and walking around with a laptop so you can see where they're going. I didn't buy that. That's where it lost me. And no spoilers. We did say no spoilers, and this is a no spoiler, but if you pause pretty much the last frame of the film so you can actually see something rather than just get it very fleetingly, when you pause it and see what it is incredibly underwhelming. So if you want to feel the fear, don't pause it at the end.
Like Ben did.
Yeah.
Why did you pause it?
Because I wanted to see, because there's something happens, and I thought, I want to replay that and pause it so I can see clearly what that is. And the only thing I can bring to mind is, that episode of South Park, Man Bear Pig? That is what it reminded me of. And all the fear goes out when you're reminded of that fucking South Park episode. But it was good. He has another one that's just come out, which is dash cam footage. An American comes over during the COVID thing and it's all. I haven't seen it, but
I haven't seen it.
That sounds. I like the fact that this guy, what's his name, Rob Savage, that director,
Yeah.
that he's using.
He was in the Picture House once. I was with Scott in the Picture House, and we were on the bar, and he was.
That's
sitting
right,
next to
you
us.
were. That is right. Yeah.
I didn't know who he was because I haven't seen any of his films, but Scott knew who he was.
I wonder how it will age in a few years' time if we turn to a world where COVID is very much in our rear view.
Well, the fact is that we've already been through this this stage of camera footage films. We had a lot of them, like
Yeah, let's not have too many more.
early 2000s, something like that.
Yeah,
mid-2000s?
Blair Witch came out 98, 99.
So it must be
98?
early 2000 when everyone's jumping on the Blair Witch, and it's had its day already, but it works in this one.
Listen, I would love nothing more than to see a really good found footage horror film again. I think you're probably right. Host is possibly the best one of the last 10 years. Yeah, good call.
Thank you.
Adam, you ain't seen it?
No.
No, you'd probably like it.
My number 2, this was spurred on from Reanimator. This is by Brian Yuzna, the director of Bride of Reanimator.
I know what it's going to be. Yeah.
And this is Society. And it gets very wacky. More the end section of the film. But it's very sexy.
Is it? I thought it's a horror film.
There's like the idea of the film is there's this guy who has his family, and he suspects that his family are all sleeping with each other.
Oh, or what?
Right.
Incestuously.
Incestuous, yeah. And that is
Yeah,
what
and you find that sexy.
No,
do you?
wait. And that's what you're introduced to. And then the whole township around him, everyone acts really strange. And then there's this girl who basically comes into his life, who very sexy. And there's this moment where they're about to do something, and she's laying on this bed in her underwear, and he looks away and then looks back, and her legs are the opposite way.
What do you mean?
And then he goes, "What?" And then it goes all back to normal again.
What do you mean her legs are the opposite way?
Her legs are switched. So
her feet are facing her back.
So her bum is on the front.
Oh.
And it's like,
it's interesting.
And then basically, from there, that is basically the turning point of the film, where it's like, what is going on with all these people?
I am intrigued by this one.
Yeah. So I won't say any more because you have to really just go in background blind mostly.
I had a
that's
film.
very
I
good.
can't remember what it was in like the early noughties or late 90s on VHS, and the trailer for Society was on it. I can't remember much about it, but I do remember there being a lot of weird prosthetic stuff
It's very
throughout the trailer,
body horror, so much body horror.
but not in that Peter Jackson way.
Towards the end, it is ridiculous body horror, like silly but fun stuff. But I very much enjoy it. That's my bag, so
Yes,
I understand if people don't enjoy it.
I think I might like that one.
Yeah.
Society is
then-
my friend, after all. Kurt
Yes,
Weill.
indeed. We live in society.
Yeah. You know, that's a Seinfeld reference, eh?
I know. That's where it's spawned from. Yes, I know.
And then Joker stole it, and everyone on Twitter started saying it, and it's like, this is Seinfeld. You have no,
no, Joker
understanding of
didn't
George
steal
Costanza.
it. Joker didn't steal it.
The
The
Twitter
meme
universe
world-
did,
the
and
meme
then
world
the
applied
Joker stole it. Then the Joker stole it. The Joker said the line, did he not, recently?
He did.
Yeah, so he fucking stole it.
And it works!
Bastard man, he is.
My number 1. It's a podcast episode we've done.
Oh,
We have all watched this. This is Melancholia. I absolutely love this film.
oh yeah.
This very much reminds me of
It's your
the...
number one of the year, is it?
Yeah, my number 1. This
Have
is...
you watched Don't Look Up yet?
I finished it last night. And yes, it's very reminiscent of that. That's the
but I have to
comedy
say, I
version.
haven't seen it. I haven't
don't
seen
think
Don't Look
so.
Up.
No, it's the comedy
the whole-
version.
Whole asteroid coming towards Earth situation.
Yes. It's more like
Apart
end
from
of
that-
days, how people react
I
to
haven't
it.
seen Don't Look Up yet, so I don't
No,
know. But
yeah,
I just
they're
like,
very,
plot,
very
plot
different.
and plot. It kind of sounds similar.
They're very, very different. But, I mean, the idea of how people, like, how people's feelings spiral around end of days, and this is very much better than Don't Look Up, I can say that.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. It is 100%.
Like, it basically, it's the whole film's about depression at the end of the day. It's about the world, like, coming down on you, and I absolutely loved it. But we have a whole episode dissecting this film, Melancholia. By
Was that
Lars
10
von
out of
Trier.
10, was it, or 9 out of 10?
It's a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10.
It was.
I've
We
got
had
the
a.
tens.
Even though Adam and I didn't favour it as much, that was a very good episode, and we had a good discussion
Yes,
about that one
we
because
did.
there was much to discuss
About Kiefer.
Kiefer, and we had a good discussion as to whether he was. Can't remember now. It was about whether or not he was responding in the right way or in a cowardly way.
Yeah. That's it.
I can't remember.
I
where
can't
we
remember. I
stood
can't
on it,
remember how
actually.
we.
Go
No, I
and
can't
listen to the
remember.
episode,
Yeah,
people,
listen to
because
the
it was
episode.
great. We do a
watch the
lot of
film.
episodes. We can't be expected to remember all our stances.
All I know is that I loved it.
All I know is that it was generic. It wasn't generic. It was good. It reminds me in a weird way. Now I think back on it, having now seen Succession, it reminds me of a sort of Succession. If Succession was directed by Lars von Trier, that's how he would.
It's like the
Take the
dynamics
characters.
between people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kirsten Dunst would be shit.
And it's like same camera style as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is very handheld up. Yeah, and Antichrist, same sort of style in Antichrist as well. And fucking House that Jack built was a terrible. The way that was shot, he's not. He doesn't. Well, my mind's racing. Forget it.
My mind's racing.
I had a million things to say about Lars von Trier at once, and then realised I haven't got the time.
Where do you
Well,
start?
excellent.
That's
there
my
was
top
Paul's
10,
top 10.
first time watchers of 2021.
Yes.
Boom. Melancholia.
Is it over to me now?
Let's hear from Adam and give Paul's lovely vocal cords a break.
Thank you.
Yes. So
This
my
is
first
poorly.
time watches of 2021. Let's start at number 10. These are all 8s until I get to number 4.
Okay.
So the number 10 is a very new slot. I think it was one that knocked off Baby Teeth. It's a film called Enough Said. And I watched this after just
yes.
finishing The Sopranos because I was like, I need to have more James Gandolfini in my life.
Yeah.
And he basically gets in a relationship with, what's her name from Seinfeld?
Elaine from Seinfeld.
Elaine from Seinfeld.
Julia
and,
Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, and I started off watching it thinking, oh, this is kind of nice. And then there's a very nice little twist in the film, I think. And the film goes in a quite an unexpected turn, which adds a good dynamic to the film. And it makes it kind of fun, and it makes it... But it was just seeing him on screen, it was just enough. And apparently, what's his name, Christopher from The Sopranos, said he's never watched the film because he said he saw a trailer, or he saw some test footage of it, and it reminded him too much of how James is in real life.
Real life. Mm.
And he said he was like watching him, and he said, I just couldn't, I can't bring myself to. It's still it hurts too much.
It's sad. Isn't that his last film, I think?
It is. He never got to see it as well. Well, it's not technically his last film. His last film was The Drop, but
Right.
this is his last full. Yeah, because he's only in The Drop very briefly, isn't he? So
I haven't seen The Drop. Yeah, that is sad. He's very nice in it.
he's lovely in it.
And that's the thing. I'm glad that he did that before he died, because I know that even though he obviously was proud of what he did in The Sopranos, I'm sure I heard some soundbite of him saying he never wanted to play that sort
and
of
he
role
didn't like
again.
doing the violent scenes. He didn't like doing all that. So.
And he didn't want to portray Italian Americans as like that.
Yeah.
By all accounts, he was a very gentle man. Many
Anyway,
of them
yeah.
are on screen.
It was just a heartwarming little rom-com, and it kind of
It was
warmed my
nice. It was nice to see two characters from TV series like
Yeah.
fucking Tony Soprano and then Elaine linking up. It was sweet. I liked it. I wasn't bowled over by it. I was expecting a little bit more, but it was
heart.
sweet.
Kind of warmed my heart in a nice way.
Yes, it was a heartwarmer. It was, yeah.
Next up at number 9 is another quite a new entry in this. It is Black Christmas. I watched this quite recently as well.
Original.
The original.
Yes. Well, it's from the 70s, so I'd imagine that's the
Yeah,
original.
that's the one. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. It's a definitely keeps you guessing kind of film. I kind of really knew what was going to happen, because I feel like it's a film that I've seen without seeing it in some ways. I feel like it's almost been spoofed a couple of times once you start to get to know.
Well, it's paved the way for a lot of those slashers, didn't it? It came out before Halloween, so Halloween wouldn't have
Yeah,
even
but I mean the
existed
actual
before
plot
it.
of the film, like the big twist of the film, is kind of I knew for some reason. It's like when I watched it, I was like, "Is this the film where this happens?" And Dan didn't say anything.
I know
He
you're
was like,
trying not to spoil it, but do you mean in terms of something being within?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That is. I mean, that's an old urban legend, though. So it kind of like
Yeah.
that
Anyway,
urban legend.
Again,
the
I very
calls
much
coming
enjoyed
from
it.
within
It's
the house.
quite. It's nice and scary.
Let's hear your theory on what was going on with Billy, the killer.
So yeah, so I always thought the whole time it was gonna. Well, I actually don't know. I can't.
This is hard to talk about, but that's what. No,
Yeah,
let's
I
all
was
right.
just about to
Let's just
say-
say what's the killer, because I know Katie and Oti did an episode on this recently, so they'll be interested to hear. What do you think is the motivation of the killer? What was happening? Not the motivation. The killer, when he's calling up, he does all these. This isn't a spoiler. He does all these different voices and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think happened? What are those voices? What is he talking about?
I always just thought he was just playing with them and trying to make it up. He was different people trying to get with him, like ex-boyfriends and all of that kind of stuff, coming back to haunt kind of thing, if that makes sense. Because it's a very, what do you call it? The house that they live in is very.
A sorority house.
No, but it's like it's sober, isn't it? It's meant you're meant to be sober. You're not meant to be like a very kind of clean cut. So it's almost like a past kind of coming back to haunt, especially the woman who runs the sorority house.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of thought. I just thought it was someone toying with him. To be honest, I didn't really think much beyond that. But
Well, no, he obviously, absolutely, yeah, he's fucking with them. He's a killer. But I think in terms of the voices, the things that he's saying, I think that he was he abused. So he's Billy. Agnes was his baby sister, because he keeps talking about Agnes, and you keep hearing a voice saying, "What do you do with the baby, Billy? What did you do with Agnes? Filthy Billy. What have you done with the baby? What your mother and I must know is, where did you put the baby, Billy?" That's all fucking scary. He sexually abused his little sister, and the parents found out about it. And then I think he killed his little sister.
okay.
That's always been my take on it.
Okay, I thought it was just some dick fucking around with him. But if I watch it with that theory in mind, but
It's horrible. Just them different voices that he's doing. They're shouting at Billy. His mother, his hysterical mother, shouting, "Billy, Billy." The dad's going, "What have you done with the baby, Billy? What have you done with Agnes?" And then him doing Agnes squealing as a baby.
It's that
going,
moment
"No,
when they
Billy,
realise-
no, Billy."
they realise everything and they remember everything, and it's just like that moment when it clicks. You're like, that's when it really got with me.
It's very scary.
It is a very kind of eerie film.
And they don't explain shit at the end, which is what I like. They don't
Yeah.
give that explanation.
At
Whereas
first,
any remake
I was
would.
almost unhappy with the ending. I was a little bit like, come on, like, really? And then you sit on it and you think about it and go, no, that definitely worked.
Oh, yes.
Wait.
Very good. I'm glad to see a little Black Christmas Joy on the list. You've seen it, Paul.
I have so long ago.
He gave it a 6
when I
out
first
of
started
10.
watching films. That's why I watched it. So I can't.
He
remember
hated it.
anything.
He hated it.
I won't
Anyway.
say anything till I watch it again.
Number 8 on my list is a Denzel Washington film directed and starred in. It came out in 2016 and it is Fences. I don't know if have you seen Fences?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes, it is very powerful. Look at again. It probably kind of it almost has that Sopranos kind of feel to it, of the kind of the toxic of masculinity just put on screen, and how you're meant to deal with it. You're not meant to. The film itself is a whole thing, but the underlying thing is about how you deal with the pressures of life in different ways and help different people take it on. Even him on different days in that film was. And the whole thing of some people build fences to keep people out, and some people build people in. I watched this at the beginning of the year, so it's a bit still a bit groggy in my mind. But
It was very good.
it was a
Great
very good film.
Great
I'm surprised you
performances.
liked it because it's very play-like.
Yeah.
You don't normally like
Definitely.
to play films.
But it's Denzel Washington, fantastic in it. But
Very character driven.
yes,
It was very character-driven. It was very strong, very, very strong. Now, Viola Davis was very good in it.
yes.
Pretty sure we
Next
spoke
up-
about this the other day, but I can't remember why. About Fences. Comparing it to something else.
Did we?
I can't remember
Probably
why.
with Julio.
Can't remember why.
Strong.
Next up, we have at number 7. It's a film that I pretty much gave my number 1 last year, and it's kind of like it's Big Brother, but in the world of the film, I think the new one was better than the old one, and it stopped making sense. by Talking Heads. Again, another stage play.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Very
haven't
good.
seen.
it's on Amazon if you haven't seen it. But yeah, it's very good again. And he has the members of, well, he obviously, she's from Radio Club, isn't she? And they did their own little bit. But again, it's just fun to watch him do a gig again and just go crazy. And
So it's another David Byrne gig.
yeah, it's pretty much the same as American Utopia, except it hasn't kind of got the themes that run for American Utopia that kind of take it to that level. It's kind of just the performance rather than...
It's like grows, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
evolves over time. More and more people
Yeah.
were joined to the
So
band.
he just stands at one, and then it's like his bassist would come out, and then other people would join. By the end of it, there's like fucking hundreds of them
Whole
on the
team,
stage.
yeah.
But yeah, very good.
Very
Very
fun.
good.
At number 6 is a film that Ben would definitely approve of, and it's a film that I think of more fondly the more I think about it, and it's The Way, Way Back.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. One of the best of the 21st century.
Yeah,
That
I
is
very
fucking-
much enjoyed this film.
The water
What?
park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
That's all. That's
I
all.
didn't like it. I didn't like it as much as you
water
guys.
park.
So yeah.
It's just nice. It's just wholesome. I wasn't expecting much from it. It doesn't seem like it's got much written on it, but it kind of took me by surprise.
Let me see what I said about it.
The beauty of it is that it was just this kid who felt a little lost, didn't really have anyone. The people
Bit of an
around
outcast,
him,
wasn't it?
bit of an outcast, but not even. But he's not even an outcast in the traditional sense. It's just that he didn't have people around him, and then he found this guy who was also like a lost soul, but just happened to be running a fucking water park, and that bond and connection that they have is just magic. That made me emotional. That fucking film, man. That sort of friendship and connection. I love films about friendship between two people. And if they're the more unlikely, the better. But that goes very much hand in hand with Sling Blade for me, where you've got because you've got two, an adult and a kid who are just walking outside of the norms of society. They're not accepted. They're not really they don't have a strong sense of a support network around them, and they walk that road together. I love that stuff.
I remember
It's
it being
just-
incredibly awkward.
But it's awkward in like a kind of a... It doesn't feel awkward after a while. It's only awkward at the beginning.
Yeah,
And
he's awkward in
he
the
kind of
Greg way.
develops, and he kind of
Yeah.
develops as he gets more on. Like, yeah.
And Sam Rockwell is always a joy.
Yeah.
Always a joy.
And Steve Carell's a dick in it.
He's a dick. He calls the kid. Early on, he says something like, "If I were to give you a score out of 10 or something as a kid, I would give you a 5." But he's not saying it as a joke. He's saying it in a really serious way. And then
But he says to him,
Rockwell
everyone
finds
can't
out-
be... Not everyone could be a 7 out of 10, isn't it?
something like that. And Sam Rockwell finds out later, and he's like, "How the hell can you say that to a boy? How can you tell a boy that they are 5?" Yeah, I love that fucking film.
But yeah, it's, again, just a nice little... I
Yeah.
feel like all my films are just quite nice and heartwarming. That's what
I
want
know.
from
What's
it.
happened to you? You've gone soft, mate.
This
lost
next
your-
one,
lost your edge.
this next one is completely different. This next one is I picked it for a podcast. It kind of tore it all, but I have got a little space in my heart for this film
It
nowadays.
tore it all. What the fuck does that
Oh, sorry,
mean?
tore us apart a little bit.
Oh, right.
I think we were all quite pleasantly surprised in some ways, and it is the Velocipasta.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh yes.
I was listening to the Contrarians the other day, and Julio brought it up, and he really was not a fan of it at all, because it's true. Like, you either buy into that sort of
Yeah.
thing does it for you. You buy into that, oh, we're being silly, and isn't it silly how silly we're being, or you don't. I feel like it's the kind of film that had I watched it in a worse mood or something, or had I not been hungover or something,
Yeah, you
I could
got to
have been
be ready
harsher
for
on.
it.
I think it was great. It was good fun. We had a good time with it.
Yeah, I've got a little space in my film buster's heart for that film.
Yeah,
So you should have.
we got space and time. We liked
We've got a whole podcast on that one, so you guys can go back and
the
listen to that.
Velocipasta.
It almost
Yeah.
like we should rewatch it, but like do a watch along of it. Like if we did
No,
Home Alone.
but it's not that good. It's not that good to do a rewatch of it.
You know what I mean. Like if you could do a watch along of it. I was just not taking the piss, but embracing it.
Let's try and encourage that director to cast us in the UK sequel.
We did.
I can't remember
In
if
our
we
episode.
created this. Yeah, but did we create that? Did we
Yes.
create the buzz for a UK sequel, or was he always going to do a UK sequel?
Oh, I don't know. We didn't create the buzz. No way. What would we have done?
No, I mean,
Oh,
In our
we
podcast-
just mentioned it on a podcast.
In
and
our
then we moved
podcast
on
we
with our
did.
lives.
Yeah.
yeah. But like, if we should encourage him to do the sequel in London. Say we'll be there.
Why
We'll
would you
act
do
it.
it? Why don't he can fly us out to New York? We can do it over there.
No, Velocipaster in London. It writes itself, mate. You already know how it's going to go. You have terrible CGI of it up on Big Ben.
He starts off by hanging out in Crystal Palace dinosaurs and one of
Yeah,
them comes
exactly.
alive. And
Exactly.
starts breaking free and rampaging around.
There we
Right
go. Let's
itself.
make it so. Come on. Let's get him.
Anyway,
What number was that? 5.
That was number 5. We're now on to the 9 out of 10s. This
Nice.
first film took me pleasantly by surprise. I enjoyed the first film, but I wasn't massive on it. But it's the second one. It's a horror film. It's The Conjuring 2.
Oh yeah, you love this film.
I found it brilliant. I really enjoyed it. It was quite scary, especially for a horror film. And I kind of really like the whole fact it was set like around the corner. Well, Enfield in London. It's like
You-
What, it's
any
set in
film-
London, is it?
yeah, set in Enfield,
Yeah.
set in North London.
The Conjuring. I haven't watched any of them, I
The
don't
second
think.
one
the
is.
second one.
I haven't watched any of
It's
them.
about an old man haunting a house, and he's like, "Get out of this house!
Get out of my chair.
I thought it was fine.
Why do you like
enjoyed
it so much? Because it's in Enfield.
No, I
This
wasn't
is why I
expecting
love Last
anything
Night in
from
Soho
it,
so
and I
much.
remember I wouldn't expect much from it, and I remember just sitting there going, I really enjoyed it. Like that was pleasantly took me by surprise.
It just gets a bit silly. See, what
The
the
third
thing
one
that
got
does it for
silly.
me, the thing that does it for me, right? I rewatched. I watched all the Conjuring series.
Yeah, you
this
watched
year.
them all recently, and Annabelle
Yeah.
and all that.
Because of Adam, loving this second one so much. He spurred me on to do it, and
He sent you on a wild goose chase.
yeah, so it is. It puts the subtitle out at the beginning that this is a true story, right?
Yeah.
Don't do that because this isn't a true story. What are you talking
Uh,
about?
based
These
on a
ghosts and all,
legend.
and all the stuff you're doing in the film is so stupid. You know this didn't happen in real life. So why are you putting
Yeah,
that?
but
Why are you
apparently
putting
people
that
think
in
it
front of
happened
the
in
film?
real life. The story
Well,
of it is real.
Paul is a non-believer. He don't believe in ghosts.
It might not actually happen if you believe in ghosts, but the story of it all and the
Pardon me.
newspaper articles and everything like that of it popping up in culture and stuff happened.
Do you know
They
what I hate?
haven't just made the story up. The story was real from that time.
Yes,
and they've just
But it's not. It's a true idea. But right, what I hate is
Hmm.
in horror films is when someone gets possessed and suddenly their face looks like the ghost. Don't do that. Why is some little girl gonna have like an old man's face? It's like that's not realistic. It's stupid.
you're watching a horror film about ghosts. You need to spend
Not true story. Don't say true story. I'd rather you go absolutely ridiculous and make it really stupid, and then it's like
or like
then-
society.
Yes,
then it's just like no, it don't even have to be that kind of silly. Just like don't say it's a true story. Go outlandish with the horror, and then it's fine. I'll go with it. Don't
wouldn't
try and
like
act
that.
like it's a true story.
I wouldn't like that.
But they're saying it's a true story, but also adding bits that it's clearly not a true story. That's
Yeah,
what
but
I
Blair-
don't like.
Blair Witch said it was a true story. The whole thing was fake.
Yeah, but it could be a true story.
Or it could be.
Look
Yeah.
at
do you-
this.
There's nothing in that Blair Witch that you see that goes, okay, that wasn't real.
No, I know that's true.
Where this film, you
That's
go,
true.
well, that's clearly not real.
I don't know why you boys watch them films anyway, because they just strike me as 21st century generic horror, like
They are.
franchise lazy.
That's
I
why
think
I
I've
thought about the first one. The first one, I was like, oh, that's okay. I
Hang on a
really
minute.
enjoyed the second.
Hang on a minute. I think I've seen the first one.
So I watched the whole series, right? This is my take on the Conjuring franchise. There's Annabelle Comes Home, right? People don't
Yeah,
like
all
this
that
one,
dull stuff.
right? Annabelle Comes Home is based in one house in a room. They get locked in the room where all the trinkets, like all the possessed trinkets, are, and they basically all the trinkets in the room are basically toying with all the these three kids in the room. So good. That's fun. That's good.
I haven't watched that one.
I don't know about
good.
that. Okay, right, yeah. So I did watch The Conjuring about 4 years ago. I gave it a 5 out of 10. That's why I didn't carry on.
There you go.
I remember it now. That Patrick
Okay.
Wilson and
Yeah.
forget that. That's 21st century teen horror boys. Teen horror boys. The fact that it's
Boys.
higher up on your list than the Black Christmas, Adam. But you're not a horror kid, so you're allowed. You're allowed
It's 'cause
to.
it's 'cause it's in
You're allowed
London.
to get it wrong. Yeah. If Black
I'm
Christmas
allowed
was
to
in
get it
London, if Black Christmas was set in Enfield, it'd be fucking 10 out of 10, would it?
Maybe. If it was set in acting, it would be 11 out of 10. I'll be there all
Oh,
day.
you corny motherfucker.
I'm set in my house right now.
Anyway.
Anyway, At number 3 on the list is a film that Paul might agree with me a little bit more on, and it is Promising Young Woman. Again,
Wonderful.
Hang on, isn't that a 2021
It's a 2021
release?
film. I told you you'd do
There
this,
we go.
Adam.
There he did it.
Whoa. This film is on this list from when you made the list for me, Paul.
No, I didn't, Adam.
It's got 2020 down.
Yeah, but the UK release would have been 2021.
Yes, 2021.
I remember it coming out earlier this year. So,
I saw
Adam,
it
Baby
before
Teeth.
you. Why would I put it on the 2020 list? I've got it on my 2021 list.
So, Adam, what you're going to have to do is find out if that actually ends up fitting on your honourable mentions or top 10. And what it means is Baby Teeth comes back into your top 10 then, doesn't it?
It was released on the 25th of December, 2020.
Oh, Paul.
It
Has
wasn't.
he called your bluff? Let's
It
have a look.
wasn't.
Promising
It
Young
was released on Sky.
Amazon Prime release date, UK.
It's on Sky Now TV. Not on Prime.
Yeah, mate. Adam, what you on about? It came out in April.
I just googled it and it said the 25th of December.
Yeah, it
That's
probably
what I
came out in
saw.
America.
Yeah, it came out Friday, 16th of April.
It was a Sky original.
Damn it, man. Fuck this up.
It's okay.
Yeah,
You can have it,
mate.
Have
Baby
it,
Teeth.
fine.
No. You find out if that fits into your honourable mentions or the other one. But Baby Teeth comes into your top 10. That's what it means, right? Because you said that just got pushed out. So that means Baby Teeth is back in at number 10.
Look how sad he looks.
I know. He shot his load too early. You don't have to tell us if it fits into your honourable mentions
Well,
yet.
I need
We'll
to
get
work
that.
it out now, don't I?
I know, but you can work that out in your downtime. Don't do it when the spotlight's on you, son.
Okay,
People are looking
we
at
move
you.
on.
But
We
Baby
move
Teeth
on.
comes back in.
Okay,
Is that
Baby
established?
Teeth is in at the end, yeah.
Look at that. Every year we've had Baby Teeth in our lists. We've all agreed on Baby Teeth.
Okay.
We love Baby Teeth.
You got anything to say about Baby Teeth?
Oh, I think we've already talked about it, haven't we?
There's my Baby Teeth.
He's got his
That's only for the
teeth out.
patrons. Only the patrons get that one. And this one
Okay.
says J on top.
Lovely.
For Jenny.
Because I've got 2 sets of teeth.
Anyway, okay, on to number 2 after the whole fucking strop happened. It is. Okay, this film definitely didn't come out. This film came out in 1992. Before I
It
was
could have
even
had a
fucking
2021
born.
late release.
It was released in February this year, mate. Don't be stupid.
Before I was even born. Paul hasn't seen this film, but Ben has.
92.
And it's a very long film, saying that. It's over 3 hours long. It's Malcolm X.
Yeah.
So I obviously know of Malcolm X, but I don't know loads about him. Like, you don't really get taught about Malcolm X as such, do you? You get taught about all the other ones that were a bit more...
Well, we
Prim
don't
and
really get
proper.
taught about any of the American
Well,
leaders.
you know about Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela.
Were you ever
and
taught
all-
that in school, though?
Yeah.
I wasn't. I wasn't taught about any of them in school.
Anyway, yeah, this is a story about Malcolm X told by Spike Lee. And I mean, it kind of speaks for itself that, I mean, yeah.
Why do you like it so much? Because I get it. It's like the story is important, but very similar to Judas and the Black Messiah. Judas and the Black Messiah is better than Malcolm X. Malcolm X feels like it's such a slog to get through. It's like a big old essay. And it's like, that's fine.
Yeah, but I feel I feel like it depends how much you enjoyed the subject there.
Yeah, but
And I
enjoyed-
just
I mean,
enjoyed it. I found it
But
fascinating.
you know,
It was
biopics
kind of learning
need
out
to
about
be
it.
engaging, and I didn't find it that engaging. And that's a shame, because it's Washington, it's Spike Lee, and
Yeah.
it's the story of Malcolm X. All the ingredients are there for that to be very engaging, and I didn't think it
It is a
was.
very... I get it. It's very long. It's 3 hours and 20 minutes. That's...
Well, I mean, who am I to say that he shouldn't get a story that long? But essentially, that is a fucking long film for a true story.
Yeah, and it's not even like it's a happy film for a true story. It's not like this. Yeah, but anyway, I very, very much enjoyed this film. Yeah, it just probably comes down to how much you enjoy the subject. Then,
But see, here's the thing, right? I understand more about Malcolm X from One Night in Miami than I do about him based on Malcolm X, the fucking film, because it goes to show it's not just about giving facts, information. It's about the poetry of storytelling, which is why Judas and the Black Messiah, if that had had a bit more poetry, a bit more storytelling to it, the message would have come across a lot more. I get it. When it's factual, you need to do an information dump, but you can do it in clever ways. You can show things rather than telling things. And it felt like that Malcolm X film just kept telling.
I mean, that's probably a lot to get across. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the subject of it. And I think all the problems that you have with it, I didn't have. And that's why I enjoyed it.
Danny's a big fan. The only reason I watched it was because Danny gave it to me.
Okay. It's on Netflix now as well. I've just noticed that. I've got it on DVD. But yeah.
There you go. You can watch that tonight, Paul.
Yep.
He's got nothing else to do for 4 hours.
He hasn't. He's got COVID.
Yeah. Anyway,
the dog's not at home.
Getting in the number 1 spot on my list this year.
Let's hear it.
It's another 9 out of 10. It was very close to a 10 out of 10. It might be 10 out of 10 on a rewatch.
This is going to be awful.
I went to see this film in the cinema.
There you go. How have you seen it in the cinema?
It came out in 1985.
Oh, it's not terrible. It's not terrible.
Oh,
I went to go see this on a whim, and it is after hours. And I had a lot of hype around this film because it's always a film that's been on my list, and it's one of the Martin Scorsese films everyone said they love, and I've just never got around to watching it because it's quite hard to get hold of. The Blu-ray is very expensive, and it's just and it's not on anything, so it's kind of like you have to make a thing of it. I went to sit in the cinema, and it lived up to every bit of hype I wanted it to live up to. It's just a great adventure. Is
the hype he's talking about is the hype that I gave it.
Well,
because I hyped it the fuck up.
It's been hyped for 20 years.
Yeah.
Adam, had you ever heard of After Hours before I brought it up?
It always pops up on those like Scorsese lists and films to talk about.
What did you know of it? What did you know of it?
It always pops up in his filmography.
Yeah.
Always pops up whenever I go on Scorsese's page on IMDb and click After Hours. No, I know. I'm only joking. Yeah. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I fucking loved it too.
I very, very, very much enjoyed this film, and it's just great. It's just, I don't know.
I know we spoke about this film quite a lot.
Yeah.
We have.
Have you seen it yet, Paul?
No.
The reason we spoke about it a lot is because I brought it up at the beginning of the year when I watched it. Then we brought it up in the end of the month when Adam watched it. Now we're bringing it up again now, and obviously we're going to bring it up shortly because it's also going to be on my list as well. So we'll talk about it for the last time shortly.
Does it get to number 1?
Well, you find out, won't you? You're going to find that out. Anyway, that was a good number 1. I'm very happy that was your number 1. What was your number 1 last year? You don't remember because you don't care.
It might have been.
Anyway,
it's either going to be American Utopia. It was American Utopia.
Was it? Oh yeah, it's a better number 1 this year. American Utopia was good, but that's not number 1 making for me.
Yes.
No, it's not my number 1. Well, good. Shall we go to me?
Yeah.
I'm going to try and go through a little quickly. So number 10 for me is a film that we've done on the podcast. It's an 8 out of 10. Jamie Russell brought it to our attention. It is The Vanishing. Very much enjoyed that. We talked about that. First time watch. Dutch film about a killer.
Was it Dutch?
Yeah.
I thought it was
Dutch. French Dutch. Yeah, it is Dutch, definitely. And girl goes missing, and you see it from the boyfriend's point of view, and then you see it from the killer's point of view. We talked about it at length. It was very good, very disturbing. Highly recommend you go and listen to that episode that Jamie joined us with.
Record, isn't it?
It's quite long. We always do long ones when we got guests on. But yeah, that was my number 10. Number 9, another podcast recording, this time one that I brought to the table very early this year. It's Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Oh, yeah.
Which I know you two weren't a fan of. And at the time that I brought it to the table, I'd given it a 9 out of 10. But then when we rewatched it and we talked about it, I moved it down to an 8. But the thing that still stands up for me is, as a filmmaking experience, it was like, this is a game changer because it felt so fresh and new. Even though I'm watching it in the 21st century, 30 years after it came out, it felt exciting. You can see how it would have inspired so much. The storytelling was completely new. I can see how it would isolate people. I could see how people would get nothing from it, but it was visceral, it was raw. It was saying something as well. As we discussed, it was saying something. And for me, Paul didn't like it because I quote Paul, he said in the episode, he said, I don't care about any of this. It's bullshit. And Paul said this. and he said it very passionately. It's one of the most passionate comments he made all year because he said it with a bit of anger in his voice. I remember it distinctly. But the way that you feel about that, Paul, is the way that I would probably feel about the silliness in Bride of Reanimator or something, you know. But you either like it or you
He's
don't.
made it personal. He's got to bring it back. He's got to zing you back, hasn't
I
he?
thought you were about to say Paddington too.
No. No. But, you know, that's silly. The thing, when you say you like the silly horror or the bloody extreme body horror and that kind of thing, yes, fine, that's good. But then for me, in this Tetsuo the Iron Man, some people might say, that's too much. What's the point of all of that? But it was very visceral and it was very new and raw. And it pushed the boundaries to the point of, it wasn't just shocking for shocking's sake. It shocked and then it continued to keep on fucking shocking all the way through. And through its shock, it sort of transcends, if you understand what I mean. Because it changes the narrative. If it didn't have all that crazy body stuff going on early on, you wouldn't buy into what's happening at the end. Although I don't think either of you did buy into it anyway. But I liked it. I know a lot of people don't. I very much enjoyed that Tetsuo the Iron Man. I'm looking forward to seeing the second and third. I look forward to the second and third. Number eight. It Dances with Wolves, an old classic that we all know is. Well, you know, we all know it's a good film. It appears on. Well, I
haven't seen it.
You hear about it all the time. Dances with
again,
Wolves.
it's one of those films you hear about all the time.
And it looks like it might be a little bit dull because, okay, it's just, you know, this old film, horseback, but it was so good. Kevin Costner is amazing. I'm amazed that Kevin Costner didn't. I know he is a big name, but I'm amazed that Costner was sidelined so that Cruise could steal all the fucking thunder, because Costner should have been the star that Cruise is. It's a very good film about a man who's sort of, he's sent to sort of like hold down this post out in the old wilderness of America in, I can't remember what century it is. It's just hold down this outpost. And then while he's there, he starts encountering Native Americans. And it's about his connection with this tribe of Native Americans. And it could have been very easy to make it a pro-America whitewash story. And apart from the fact that obviously it's told from Kevin Costner's perspective, it really isn't, because it gives a great amount of focus and attention to the Native Americans. You learn and buy into their culture. You feel a great amount of empathy for them. The story is very good. The central romance is less good, but the story and the epicness of it is brilliant. And I would watch it again. I thought it was very, very well shot, and it was very good. And it's one of those films that you feel like you know without having seen, like Schindler's List for me. Never seen it, but I feel like I know what it's all about. But until you see it, you won't really appreciate it. I recommend on that. Number 7, another episode that we did on the podcast. Loads of podcast episodes that we did this year. So if you want to check it out, another episode that was picked and selected for us by Jamie Russell. It's Midnight Run. It's my first 9 of the list. Oh, yeah. Midnight Run. Unfortunately, my only De Niro this year, in a year where I watched shitloads of De Niro films. It's my only De Niro film that made the list. But there you go. I'm glad that I saw it. If you want to hear our thoughts, check out the podcast. The only thing I would say about Midnight Run, having put some time between it, is that the main thing that I kind of feel didn't work in that film, and it's probably the reason I didn't give it a 10, was Charles Grodin and his lack of charisma. I think he is a bit of a, I said it at the time, but I think even more so now, there's like a vacuum of personality there. And De Niro,
Robin Williams.
Yes, if that had been Robin Williams, yeah. No disrespect to Charles Grodin, but yeah, he just didn't have too much personality there. But the whole film around it, the style, the soundtrack, the energy, the story, the laughs, all of that was good. It was great. I was on board for it. I loved it. It was that kind of filmmaking that you just know a film like that wouldn't come out now. They would lean too heavily into the comedy. It'd be Kevin Hart and The Rock doing it. It just wouldn't be funny. It'd be in your face, obvious. So very, very, very good film. Highly recommend that people check that out. Now, this one, number 6, I can thank Adam for this, I think, because I think you brought it to my attention, and I loved it. And it's not strictly a film. It is a documentary, but not in the traditional sense. And it is Martin Scorsese's My Voyage to Italy.
Oh, yeah.
It's about 3 hours long, and it's Scorsese. It was filmed back in 92 or 93, I think. 99. I got that well wrong. Okay. And it is Scorsese in black and white, talking about film, and like all the films that he watched growing up,
every bit of knowledge he has on everything.
Absolutely. And the thing that is so beautiful about it is, we know that Scorsese is this wonderful filmmaker. He doesn't for a second patronize or be pretentious with what he's saying, or would be a bit like, I'm smarter than you, so this is why you should like this. It is completely, oh man, these films are amazing. Oh, look at this, and that's what it is. He keeps showing clips from all these they're all Italian films,
and how everything changed, and like
saying, look at this,
cinema.
look at that shot there, look at how he's used his camera here, see, by doing that he's done this, and it's infectious listening to him. And
It's
this
like he's doing a
was
university
all-
lecture almost, kind of thing, of just him.
yeah, but in a very engaging way. Like a lecture would be very dry. This is
It's nearly 4 hours long, isn't it? But it
is
does
long.
not feel that long at
it
all.
flies through, and it makes me want to see all of those bloody films that he talks about. He talks about it with such passion, and it's like, God, you should be making films, you of all people. And for anyone, these stupid idiots, these people
There we
online
go.
these days who like to talk and throw shade at fucking Scorsese, let me tell you something. He didn't even want to talk about Marvel fucking films. He was asked a question when he was promoting The Irishman. He gave a quick answer to it. He didn't go somewhere and say, I've got an opinion on Marvel films. And ever since then, teenagers and the Marvel universe and the extension of have decided they're going to constantly pile onto him all the time and be like, oh yeah, this crotchety old man, this, that. Learn to respect your fucking elders and learn to respect the fathers who came before you, man, because without him,
Heritage.
cinema is dead. Heritage, legacy, cinema. I'm sorry, when you hear him talking about film, I would listen to him talking about film hours. I would pay to go into a cinema and see 30 installments of My Voyage to Italy before I'd go and pay to see a fucking Marvel film in the cinema. This man loves cinema, and he watching it will make you love cinema even more. Highly recommend it. There's another one, which is the American one, not quite as good because I like not.
Yeah,
it's
I've
more because
got
of
on
the
my list
films.
to watch, but
It's still good, but it's the more
it's
Voice
almost
to Italy
fascinating
feels
because
more
you
personal.
don't know the films about it, and it is like
That's it.
him watching it with his mum and like how he talks about who
Exactly.
introduced it to him, and
Connecting it. Like, it would be like if we were famous and we got a chance to spend 4 hours talking about all the films that we watched as kids and the environment we watched. A bit like having our podcast.
you
in a
would
way.
do 4 hours, and then now Ghostbusters done, then we got to move on to the next one.
There you go. Anyway, it was lovely. Number 5, I saw this one. Before Sunset. So the second in the Before trilogy. I'm gonna do them together. So number 3 is Before Sunrise. So that's in my number 3 spot. So Before Sunrise, number 3. Before Sunset, number 5. So I watched Before Sunrise and really loved it. I loved the conversation. It could be seen as pretentious by some, but I was just
It's
completely
beautiful.
lost in
It's
it.
just
Very beautiful.
it's a magical romance. It's what films think they're doing half the time, but they're actually not.
Yes. And the conversation may feel a little bit inauthentic, like could two people really have such philosophical conversations? But it's cinema, so you go with it, and it's like just a reflection of those brief exchanges you meet when you encounter people, and the kind of conversations you can have when you have a deep connection with those people. I loved it. Everything about it just filled me with joy. I saw that very early on this year, and then when I saw the sequel, I was like, God, this really feels like picking up where we left off, like two friends that we knew reconnecting over one night. I loved everything about it apart from the ending, because I wasn't too sure about what that meant for me personally, which I won't spoil for anyone who hasn't seen it. But the interesting thing is, tomorrow night, New Year's Eve, we are scheduled to watch the final installment in that trilogy, and I'm really looking forward. It's to the power of those two films that I'm so excited to find out what happens to these two at the end of their
All I'm gonna say, Ben,
journey.
is the spacing
Don't spoil a thing.
is done so well. It doesn't feel like the only thing I had going into the third one, I was like, oh, it's done 20 years later now, isn't it? But it works. It has to be that. If they didn't do it that way, it's almost like when they filmed the first film, they went, we'll make this a trilogy, but we're going to do it over 30 years.
Well, that's
Not as
Linklater, though, isn't it? He likes to do that. He likes to
play of
Boyhood.
Yeah. Anyway, those films brought me a lot of joy this year. I really connected with those characters, and I just love their conversation. It felt like real, authentic love on screen, and just seeing it in a very new and fresh way. What do you feel about their conversations? Did you think they were pretentious or what?
I got completely swept away in everything that they were doing.
I agree. I got swept away with it. I didn't see it as pretentious. I enjoyed seeing this romance kind of blossom through the duration of the film. It was nice. It was really well done. I liked it. I don't
Good.
like it as much as you two, but
That's
just
I really
me.
want to rewatch them, but
that's just me with romance films in general.
oh,
Yeah, I know. I'm not big on romance films either, though. That's why this one kind of works because like the best scene in both of them. Who just screamed?
that's my housemates downstairs.
Oh, the best scene out of both of them is that first one when they're in the record shop and they're listening to the same song through headphones, and they're just looking at each other. Very strong. Anyway, number 4 in between those two films is Steve Jobs the movie, which I spoke about before.
Yeah.
Very incredible. Fassbender is wonderful as Steve Jobs. Danny Boyle does a great job directing what is essentially 3 installments of Steve Jobs on stage, launching new stages of the Apple Mac and whatever. But it's not about that. It's about what's happening behind the scenes. And like I said at the time, I knew nothing really about Steve Jobs the man. Whether that helped or hindered, I don't know. But watching the film and seeing what was going on behind the scenes was so engrossing. The dialogue was fantastic and it made sense. Everything that was going on for his personal life being reflected in what he was doing on stage when he was developing the tech and presenting it was incredible. Loved it. Very dialogue heavy. If you like Sorkin, you'll probably like it, but if you don't, you won't. Which one have you seen it?
I've
seen it.
Yeah, it's very good. Very, very good. I think you'll like it,
Yeah.
Paul. What did you give it, Adam?
7. I don't think much of it.
It's one of them things. I like a lot of dialogue, so that's why I really liked it. So it's very good. The best Fassbender of the year for sure. So go and check it out. Number 2, After Hours as well.
I think we've already,
What can I not say? We've spoken about it so much this year. Like if it wasn't for this number 1 film, this After Hours was wonderful. Highly recommend. One of the best Scorsese
excited
films.
to see what beat it now.
Well, what beat it? I don't think either of you would agree that it should beat it. Is first time watch for me decades later. Lost in Translation.
Oh yeah.
See, I just didn't think much of that film.
Yeah, a bit too
I think
thoughtful
we
for
discussed
you, I
this
think.
again, didn't we? On a monthly roundup. It's like, I enjoyed it. I've got a weird double pack with Lost in Translation and Eternal Sunshine. It's
it is
a
a bit
double pack
weird.
of DVD. It's like,
Like unconventional romance films.
yeah. I do kind of really want to watch Lost in Translation. I watched it about 5 years ago now. I watched it a while ago.
Do you know
but-
what? I think the age of the conversation we had during Age of Innocence and being, and again,
Yeah.
not in a condescending way, about just having been around a bit longer, and also we've lost the translation for being a bit jaded, because you're not quite jaded yet. When you get a little bit older, you get a little bit more jaded. That feeling of like limbo that he has while he's there, and then connecting with Scarlett Johansson, because I don't think it is a romance story. I don't think
that's
it's
what
a
I mean.
love story.
Unconventional.
Yeah.
It's not romance.
She's
It's
in a
lost
relationship
souls.
anyway, isn't she?
She's in a relationship with what's his name, Giovanni Ribisi, and it's just the connection that they make there, finding each other in a world where they're lost. Coming back to like what you were saying about the Way Back and Sling Blade, I like stories about very lost souls finding connection in each other in unlikely settings. And the thing that's great about this is these two people who are lost in their own personal lives anyway, then being in Tokyo, like physically lost as well as like mentally lost, and finding and connecting with each other in this environment. It in many ways it was like the anti Before Sunrise Before Sunset, because it wasn't about really long profound dialogue. It was more about the connection that can just be found in people through experiences.
Is it over one night or not?
No, I think it's like a week maybe.
Okay. They're just staying in the same hotel, aren't they?
Staying in
Or
the same
something?
hotel. And Sophia, that is Sophia Coppola's greatest film that I've seen her done, and she's done some shites. The Bling. Well, I remember watching The Bling Ring and thinking this is absolutely appalling. You're directing this the way you acted in Godfather 3, which is just shocking. But Lost in Translation was her. Yeah, it's my number one film, first time watch of the year, and I have to thank Jenny for bringing that to my attention, because it was her. Keep saying we should watch it. And I always stayed away from it because, again, there's these films that have you feel like you kind of know what they're about without having seen them. Like Lost in Translation, Bill Murray just being a bit of jaded Bill Murray in Japan, and that'll be the joke. It's like, well, much more than that. deep stuff. I very much enjoyed it, and Scarlett Johansson was wonderful and very beautiful in it as well.
I need to see it again.
Lovely. Just being in that setting, it was great. If it had been in America, if it had just been those two people feeling very lost, but in America, I don't think it would have had the power. It's about putting these two Americans in Tokyo and have that wild, different backdrop to everything that worked. And the whisper at the end.
Yes. Don't need to know, do we?
Don't need to know.
I will get round to rewatching it, I think.
I know what he said, though. Do you want to know what he
Bill
said?
told you.
You know what he said?
Watch
Go on, what did he say?
Caddyshack.
Wait, he said, go listen to the Film Busters podcast when you get home.
Was that, oh, really?
Yeah. but they won't come around for another 16 years. No, it's okay. Don't worry. Just subscribe.
They're eternal. They're eternal.
They are eternal. So that's it. There we go.
Wonderful. We've also got something special. We got 2 patrons who have also submitted some best of for each of our lists. We have Jamie and Julio. So I guess we'll just listen to their best first time watches now.
Best first time watch in 2021. So for all of these films, and there are lots of ones I did give 5 for, but I'm going to go for a film that literally knocked me sideways and is proof that you don't necessarily have to fully understand a film and not be fully absorbed, immersed in what you're watching. So my vote for first time watch of the year goes to Holy Motors. Holy moly, what a film. I will also say that my experience of this unique film was heightened by following this up with a listen to your podcast. And there's a significant possibility that I would not have chosen to watch this film by myself. So thank you, Julio, Filmbusters, for setting me on that particular voyage of discovery.
Well, yes. Julio episode, Holy Motors. Wonderful pick.
Contrarians episodes.
Yeah.
Not just
It
Julio.
was.
Yeah.
One of our first
Oh,
guest
yeah, it
features,
was Alex
wasn't
as
it?
well. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
That was a great pick.
I think we've introduced a lot of people to Holy Motors because of that episode, because Jamie listened to it, Luke listened to it, a fair few others have. Santoka has listened to it. These are people who never would have found Holy Motors before. We never would have
I don't
played
think
it.
we would have ever found it before.
There we
I
go.
think we should have to thank Julio and Alex rather than thanking us.
It's true. The standout, so many standout things from that, man. Like Monsieur Murd with that fucking cigarette is just perfection, man. The backwards, just joyful stuff.
With long nails.
That plus the standout scene, that fucking accordion scene in the middle, is just
Great
incredible.
I
fantastic.
still look at it every so often and think I really, really need to. Like, I just look at it fondly and think of that episode.
Yeah,
I almost think I would like it even more now. Like, the more I think
it
about
bonds us with our contrarian brothers.
Does indeed.
I don't know how they would have done it on their show if they had to do the contrarian approach first, because it's hard enough to pick apart as it is. Well, thanks, Jamie. Holy Motors, yeah, great.
Right, should we listen to Julio's one?
What was Julio's?
The best first watch of 2021, and it was, of course, Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm kidding. No. So it is the 2020 movie, at least according to Letterboxd, Promising Young Woman, which won Best Original Screenplay, I think, at the Oscars, and that was it. It didn't really get many more awards. I was rooting for it all the way through. It is really, really dark comedy / drama. The social commentary, I know it was a little too much for some. Not for me. I was 100% behind what this movie was selling, and I will give it props anytime it comes up.
So yeah, he's allowed to include it, isn't he, from America? But
Yes.
So why is he allowed to include it? Let's clarify.
So it would have been
came out in
released
America
earlier
before
in
here.
America, and then we
Okay.
got it later on Sky.
So I haven't seen it, but my understanding is it's. I might be wrong in saying that she's raped and it's a revenge film. Boiling it down to its most basic concept.
Yeah,
She's
it's a
not raped.
revenge
Her
film.
friend was.
Okay.
It's a revenge film.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is
But it's
Black
done in-
comedy, is it?
But it's done in an original
kind
way,
of,
in my
kind
opinion.
of black comedy.
It feels like a film in some ways you've seen 100 times, but with a good original twist on it.
And what is the original twist, or is that spoiling something?
That's
I
spoiling
think it's a background blind.
stuff. Yeah.
I think you really have to just go in without knowing anything.
What Julio said there is a great way of describing the film.
Like what the film's about in its first 2 minutes.
Okay.
So that's
I
not
do
a- that's
wanna
not a
see it.
Spoiler. But it's like the color palette of the whole film, the soundtrack is wonderful.
And Bo Burnham's in it, is that right?
Bo
Yeah, he
Burnham's
is.
in it, yeah.
Very strange. Very
yeah,
strange film for him to be in, is it?
just before he released his Inside. So it's lovely seeing him now even more.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fucking great. Absolutely great.
I will watch it. I finished watching a film this morning called Traps, which is this Czech film from the 90s, which is about a woman who is raped by an MP and some business guy. But she is a vet on a farm, and unfortunately for me this month, 2 films that I've watched, the opening scene has been an animal dick going into another animal. So I saw The Beast a few weeks ago with that horse cock. This film is a pig cock, and again, they don't shy away. The Europeans love to just show it. It's
Isn't
like,
a pig
fucking
cock all
hell.
swirly as well?
No, this one wasn't. It was very straight. That must
really?
be a rumour, because this was very straight.
No,
and it was most
they're
certainly
definitely
a
like
real one.
corkscrews.
Well,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
straightened it out for this film. I'm telling you, if you want to go and see this film, you can see it. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Traps. No, it's on BFI. Anyway, because she's a vet, her event afterwards is she drugs the 2 men with a drink, because she makes it like she has amnesia after the rape, and she takes them home. She drugs them, and then they wake up, and she's cut their balls out. Because the opening scene is them cutting balls out of these pigs, and she does it to these men, and then it turns into this like comedy farce of these 2 men going, going around, oh my god, and getting on a bus and stuff. It's like, hang on, this was a really serious film about rape, and now this is like Mr. Bean. If Mr. Bean was a rapist, that's what it turns into. I was like, I don't know how to feel about this, but I was very glad that she got her revenge in that way.
Well, okay. And just
I
props
haven't
to
seen
Carrie
it.
Mulligan as well for being wonderful. Let's not miss her out, because she was absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic in that film.
Well, I intend to check it out. Thanks everyone for your recommendation on that. That's
No
a
worries.
strong recommend.
Right, shall we move on to our honourable mentions? So our top 11 to 20 of 2021
Yes.
released films.
2021, and dear listeners, don't worry, we're going to whiz through this bit so we can spend time on our top 10. So we'll go a lot quicker through this bit than we did that
Yes.
first section.
Yes.
This is always a very indulgent end of
We're
year
almost at 2
episode.
hours already.
I know. Sorry, our fandom will enjoy it. They beg for this.
Okay, so here's my honourable mentions, my top 11 to 20. My number 20 is, it's actually slipped down the list. It was quite high up, like at the beginning of the year. This is Malcolm and Marie. It's a great film. It is a really great film. I know we've had a massive discussions about this with For Your Reference and Katie specifically, but it is wonderfully acted. There's the dynamic between the 2 of them is great, and it's like brings up a lot of questions that it's great to discuss. But yes, is a very good film. Next one, 19, is Sound of Metal. We've got a whole episode on this, so it's me and Adam talking about it, so you can go check that out. My number 8 is Luca, the Pixar film. Wonderful Pixar film. I shed a little tear at the end about just being accepted by the world in whatever way that, or shape or form that is. It is a very lovely film, very heartwarming, and yes, I loved it. My number 17 is The Harder They Fall.
Okay.
Fantastic cowboy film, very original. It felt very fresh because of obviously an all-black cast. Great soundtrack, absolutely adored it. It was great. My number 16 is surprisingly Black Widow. I didn't think it was going to be anything, but it was something. I very much enjoyed it. It was a great film. Ben doesn't even care, but it was very great. My number 15, we're piling them both together, is Shang-Chi, another Marvel film. It's slightly better than Black Widow. I could almost like chop and change between them, which one I think better, because they both got good things in their own way. But the
I
martial
think
arts
you're
in
going to
it's
be
great.
very annoyed by his number 1 spot, Ben.
No, he won't be. It's quite chop and changey between the two. They're both good in their own way, but I enjoyed the setting and the Oriental theme of Shang-Chi. It was very nice. I loved it. My number 14, Adam's going to be very happy. It's Palm Springs. This was on his list last year, but I only got a chance to watch it this year because it was released this year. Because I think Adam...
How was it on his list last year?
I think Adam streamed it.
I don't know. I didn't stream it.
You terrible cunt.
I didn't personally do it.
We can't trust you, Adam.
But
anyway, I'm notified of the authorities. I'm a narc.
I've got a very big love of any film that kind of manipulates time, or it's to do with like loops and stuff like that. I just really enjoy that kind of theme, and it's very funny. Andy Samberg's wonderful in it, and it's a lot of fun. My number 13 is A Quiet Place Part 2. Didn't love it as much as Adam, but it is great the way that it really manipulates you into not wanting to make any noise while watching it, which is great for a cinema viewing. And it is pretty scary, and I enjoy seeing more of the monsters in it, even though I don't think it's as good as the first one. My number 12 is Ghostbusters Afterlife. We had a whole episode on this just a couple of weeks ago, so you might want to go check that out. But it's a great film. Very nostalgic. And then my number 11 is an animated DC film. This is Batman The Long Halloween Part 1. And I will tell you about Part 2 in my top 10, I guess.
Ooh. Lovely. Ooh. Anything to chime in? Maybe we should chime in here. Anything to say?
I've got a couple of those films on my list, so I imagine we'll talk about them briefly. Yeah.
I would just like to say that Palm Springs, I liked it, but I wasn't as bowled over by it because I didn't think it was as funny or as profound as it could have been, because it wasn't full-on comedy. It was like half comedy.
Yeah,
Okay.
I get that.
It was good. It was good.
Shall I fire off with my numbered now?
Fire away.
Yes, fire off.
Okay, I'm going to have to reschedule this or put this around because of Promising Young Woman. But
Yeah, so just put
I'm
Promising
just
Young
gonna
Woman in where you would.
I'm just going to do a top 11 here because I can't do it.
What do you mean a
It's gonna
top
be very
11?
cool. It's going to a 21 then.
Oh, you cheater. Just drop one out so For Your Reference can go in. So Promising Young Woman can go in. For Your Reference.
Okay. At number 20, it is Corrupt FM, big in Japan. Massive fan of the TV series, and the film was just as good. I mean, the
Such
film's
a
gonna
you
make,
pick.
The film's
Such a
going to
you
make no
pick.
sense unless you've watched the TV series, but yeah. Number 19 was a Nicolas Cage film, and it's Pig. I really want you two to watch this film so I can talk about it in a bit more. I also kind of really want to rewatch it because I feel like on a rewatch I could give this film like a 4 out of 10, or it could go to like it's just, my opinion on this film still isn't really settled. It's a bizarre film.
Have you seen the original?
Is it an original?
Yeah, Babe, Pig in the Sea.
Oh, for fuck's sake, you twat.
Nicolas Cage is the farmer.
But yeah, anyway, without Ben's stupidity, yes.
That'll
number
do,
18
Pig.
is
That'll
a
do, Pig.
It's a documentary that's just come on to Netflix. It's called 14 Peaks. I don't know if you know anything
Oh,
about
yes,
this.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw the trailer for that. Yeah.
It's about a guy. There's 14 mountains in the world that are over 8,000 meters, and this guy climbs them all within 7 months.
Crazy.
It's all about pushing you. Like the last person to do it took him 16 years to do it, because it's just the weather, like the training and doing them back to back. He like climbs 3 mountains. He climbs Everest and 2 mountains in 48 hours. Well, it should take you like 48 hours just to do Everest. Like, this guy is just ridiculous, and it's pretty special to watch. Number 16 is Ghostbusters Afterlife. Again, as Paul mentioned, you can check out the podcast on that. What's that? No, I fucked this up because it's all in a different order now on my list. So at number 16, it's a film I imagine one of you two is definitely going to talk about more. It's Mitchell and the Machines, or Mitchell versus the Machines. Is it Mitchell versus the Machines?
Yeah. The
Mitchells
Mitchells
versus the Machines, yeah. Sweet. Got that tongue twister out of the way again, and I imagine we'll talk about that in a second. Number 15 is a film I thought that would be higher up on my list, but it's not, and it's Dune. Again, I don't know if we talk about it, but I feel like you can't really do anything with this film until the second half comes out, because it is very much a part one of a part two. So I'm not really knocking the film for being bad. It's just the story needs to develop for you to be able to get a payoff for this film. At number 14 is Judas and the Black Messiah. Again, we've done a podcast on this quite recently. We talked about it in great depth. And number 13 is The Riders of Justice. I watched this film recently. I don't know if... I think Paul's seen it, and I think you quite like it, don't you, Paul? So, is it coming up higher with you, Paul?
We'll see, won't we?
Okay, we'll talk about that one in a bit then. And number 12 is a film Paul mentioned quite briefly. It's The Harder They Fall. I think we spoke about this quite recently again in one of our end of month specials, if you want to go check that out. And getting knocked out of my top 10 into number 11 is a film, again, I thought I'd like more. And the more I think about it, the less I like it. But again, I really, really want to rewatch this film. And it is Last Night in Soho.
It didn't quite make the top 10.
It just fell out of that top 10, but I don't know why. The more I think about it, the more it kind of gets wobbly, especially when I'm speaking to Paul about it. But I don't know, rewatch it and it could go back up there again.
Well, we can have a dissection of that in a bit when we go into the detail.
Can we?
We got anything to say there about what Adam had to say?
Nothing.
No. Okay.
I'm very happy with everything he said, so yeah.
All right. Run down mine quickly. Sorry, can you hear that? The washing machine is really making a loud noise at the moment.
No.
Okay. All right. Fine. All right. Well, as I said to the boys very briefly, I was very sure. I saw Licorice Pizza 2 nights ago, and I was very sure that it was going to be appearing in my top 20. It don't even beat any of these films I'm about to list out, which is a shocker. Paul Thomas Anderson fucked up because he wasn't able to beat my number 20, which is Tiger, the Tiger Woods documentary. I watched that in like February of this year. Paul Thomas Anderson couldn't beat that. Look, the Tiger documentary was very interesting. I knew roughly about a man's career, but it was presented in a very, very interesting way.
All of your films 8 out of 10s, by the way, because all of my lot were 8 out of 10.
Well, all of mine are 8s, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
believe all mine were. Yeah.
So yes, Tiger, very interesting.
Wait, no, it wasn't. Let me just clarify. Only the Batman animated one was a number 9. It was a 9.
Okay.
Oh shit, so your top 10 is all 9s?
And 10s.
So is mine, yeah.
Ooh. I've got quite a few 8s in mine.
Silly. Carry on.
Yes, Tiger. Let me start again. Tiger is my number 20, and it's a Tiger Woods documentary. Very interesting, very well told in 2 parts. His sort of like rise and fall, both on and off the concourse. I knew some of it, I didn't know all of it, but it's presented in a very interesting way. There's no Tiger Woods himself in it speaking, but I think that's the reason for that is obvious based on the things that he did off court. But it's very interesting. My number 19 is Luca. Very much enjoyed that as well. I watched that in Scotland while we were in our accommodation off the lock, so I was in a very chilled mood anyway, so I was probably willing to give it the benefit of the doubt, but it was very good. I liked that it was essentially gay characters, but they're Pixar, so they couldn't say it out and out, but 2 gay boys, and about not being afraid to hide that, even though you did hide it because you couldn't quite say that in the film, because it's still taboo. It's still taboo for kids to be accepted like that in film. But you know, they're at least starting. Number 18, Judas and the Black Messiah. We spoke about this at length on our episodes. It was on your list as well. I still think highly of it, but same sort of comments that I have with the Malcolm X thing. I think it works better as it is as a essay to read rather than a film to enjoy. Number 17 is a film called Mass, which is I won't tell you too much. Parents, there's a church hall that is being prepared for some people to arrive at it. A table's placed in the middle of the church hall. The lady who's organising it is being supervised by this sort of like law enforcement person, and you don't really know what's going to happen. And then finally a couple turn up, and then another couple turn up, and they sit around this table and they have a conversation for about an hour and a half, and then you find out what has happened in their past to connect them, and it's something terrible, very, very terrible that happened, and it comes out through the conversation. And I love dialogue, so I was really on board with the film. But then, as the name would suggest, it takes this twist at the end and becomes slightly, I may have misread it, but slightly too religious for me. and it spoils everything that came before, because it was almost like, but find future and salvation in God. And I was like, nah, I don't believe in that cunt, so I won't do that. Number 16, The Harder They Fall. We've said it. Very good cowboy film, regardless of it even being a black cowboy film. It was a very good story. An all-black cast adds another layer to it, and the soundtrack adds another layer to it. Very, very enjoyable. Very good. Second half better than the first half, and I really liked the reveal at the end. Number 15, Paul will be very, very happy, or maybe he won't be. Maybe he thought it'd be higher, but I think this is a big win. Zack Snyder's Justice League. That is number 15. I was very thrilled to watch it. I enjoyed it very much so. I don't have a problem with DC, as I've said before. I don't have a problem with DC. I have a problem with Wonder Woman, but I don't have a problem with DC. And I thought the story was very well told. I enjoyed it. It was engaging, very visually spectacular. Lost a little something in that final hour because it went too actiony for me. But I was very invested and I really enjoyed it. And I could see how you would absolutely fucking adore that one. It was very good. Number 14, The Mitchells versus the Machines. A lot of heart, a lot of laughs. Hard for a film which isn't out of the Pixar stable to come along and make a good animated film. But this was very fun, very heartfelt. You know, again, a character who is lesbian, bisexual. I don't know. She's not straight. She's not cis. So that was very refreshing. She was a filmmaker. The jokes kept landing. They were consistently good jokes, and it was the perfect film that appeals to both kids and parents, so that was great. Number 13, I feel like I'm saying all these numbers wrong. No, 13 just came out on Disney Plus over here in the UK. It's Ridley Scott's The Last Duel, and it is a film told in 3 parts. And when I saw the first part, I didn't know there was going to be a second and a third part, and I watched the first part and I was like, fuck this, because the characters are behaving appallingly, and this is very regressive, and why should I care about this story? And then the second part resets the narrative and tells it from a different point of view, and then the third part resets the narrative and tells it from another different point of view. And if you don't know what it's about, that's the best thing. Go into it, watch it, because by the end, when the last duel comes up, there's a lot at stake. And I really enjoyed the way that he told the story, but Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Adam Driver's acting is pretty appalling across the board. They all look like caricatures, and for some reason, I don't know why Ben Affleck has this blonde beard and hair. There was no need for it at all. He looks ridiculous. Number 12, Malcolm and Marie. That was very high up and has been in the top 10 for the longest time, but as the year has gone on, it's Katie's comments more than anything that have always been niggling at the back of my head, because Katie knows this. Katie has very strong opinions on characters who are flawed, and she doesn't hold much water in allowing them much breathing room in a film. She wants them to be punished, and I didn't ever really think that Malcolm wasn't being punished, because I thought his punishment was essentially that he was being spurned by Marie in that film. But listening to what she said at that time, it really, the more time goes by, the more right I think Katie is on that front. And I don't know if she just poisoned my mind early and has ruined that film for me or not, but for every film that comes along that is an 8, I always think, is it better than Malcolm and Marie? And that's if it has no, yes,
that's how it works its way down.
Yeah. And it kept pushing it down. But it is a shame, because it was very well acted. Zendaya is amazing in that. Yeah. Very beautiful as well. And David Washington. John David Washington. Very good. But again, the things that Katie said really poisoned me, because she said he doesn't act, he just shouts at the camera. And it's true. He does that. Not in an Al Pacino way. He just shouts. The more shouty he can be, doesn't necessarily mean he's acting well. And that is, when I think about his performance, the things I remember the most is him just raising his voice and ranting. So I'm glad it's not in my top 10. But I really appreciated it early on. And it was a lockdown film, so praise to it. There was a lot going for it.
Yeah.
Finally, number 11, No Time to Die. I was surprised to have a Bond film this high up. I don't really care about the Bond films, but I do always watch them. I watch all the Craigs. This was one of the better ones. Still not as good as Casino Royale or Skyfall. And I managed to stay away from spoilers, so when things happened, I was like, oh, okay. Bold move. So I'm intrigued to see where they will go after this.
Lovely.
They'll just reset. I would say no time
Can
to die.
they
was the
reset?
film.
Can they reset,
No
though?
film to die. It was
No
the
film to
that was
die.
at 20th. No Time to Die was the film that's at 20th on my list that just got knocked out because of the whole
really?
promising woman situation. So
Deserves it. I presume some of these films that we've spoken about are going to be in our top 10, so we can go into more detailed discussion after.
Yeah. I guess we just go
Excellent.
straight into it.
okay.
So we're going to do this a little different. We're all going to do our 10s, 9s, 8s. We're going to do it like that, yeah?
Yeah.
And we won't talk about the film
If
until
someone else has it higher.
until the person has it higher on the list comes about.
Yes.
Okay, so shall I start off with my number 10?
Let's have it.
Okay, my number 10 is the part 2 to the DC animated film Batman
Yes.
Long Halloween. This is what I love so much about Batman, where it's like a grounded detective story. I haven't personally read the comic book, so everything was a surprise for me. I know people who have read the comic book don't like it as much because you never will you?
No.
Most people won't.
Unless it's like the most accurate, faithful adaptation.
Yeah. So I don't know what is been taken out, what's been added. I don't know, but I enjoyed it as a story. It is about a serial killer going around killing people on
Halloween.
occasions of the year. So it's like it'd be on Thanksgiving, then it'd be on Christmas. It's like all different times of the year. Someone will turn up dead, and Batman's trying to hunt them down, trying to find out who it is. So many Batman villains in it, which I absolutely love. I want to see them all the time. And great story, violent, dark. That's what I love. Batman.
Good. 18 rated, is it?
Probably not. It's probably a 15.
Well, on that point, when we saw the trailer for the Batman Before the Matrix the other day, we said it's so refreshing to actually see no Joker, because not that there's a problem with Joker, but like it's just Joker all the time, Joker all the time. So like, let's have something more than just Joker.
I think it's gonna be a while before we see a Joker again.
Yeah, well, I don't
Someone
know,
will do
mate.
it.
He's been out there for fucking
It's a
decades.
guarantee.
So we'll see. We potentially might see a Joker 2, and that'll be it.
I'm really not. Are you interested in Joker 2? The thing
Not
that works about
necessarily.
Joker is him going from average schmo to Joker at the end. Joker 2 is.
I don't know what it has to offer, really.
No, I really don't want to see that.
Yeah. Well, that's my number 10 anyway. Long Halloween, part 2.
Why don't you like, while we're on the topic of animated Batman, why don't you like Mask of the Phantasm as much?
I why don't I like it as much? Like, why don't I give it like a 9?
Why'd you give it a 7?
Because I don't know. What did I say? Whenever I watch it, I find it forgettable in comparison.
The only reason I ask is because I know
people love it. People love it so
Alex
much.
is like one of his favourite films of all time.
Yeah, I came to it late. It could be that. It could be just nostalgic value. I give it a 7. So I said, it's lovely returning to the beautiful animation style in Mask of the Phantasm. The flashbacks to a younger Bruce Wayne finding his feet, paired with a surprise pre-Joker story, is what makes the film. The rest is very by the books and predictable. So no surprises, I guess. That's why I didn't find it.
No alarms and no surprises, please.
Next, number 10. Go on, Adam.
Are we doing it in order?
Yeah.
Okay. My number 10.
He's stuffing his face
Considering-
with chocolate, listeners. He's been
I'm
stuffing his
sorry,
face with chocolate.
But we've been recording for 2.5 hours. It's now
so he
missed
needs chocolate
lunchtime.
to get through. He has
I'm having
30
some
bars
sugar.
of Milka. This
Oh, yes.
animal.
Happy cow.
Good, eat it. Let's hear your number 10. I'm very
Anyway,
sorry to interrupt.
Number 10 is a film that it surprised me, this film. It's Minari. I don't know if any of you got it higher.
What the hell is that?
I didn't even get it to my list.
Oh, Minari.
Minari.
Yes. It's on your watch list, Paul. Ben, sorry.
Yeah, someone might watch this.
Yes. It's about a family that moved to America in the early 1980s. And he's trying to set up a new life for his family, becoming a farmer. And nothing is really kind of going correct. Nothing his way. And he's got to deal with his son, who is very curious, let's say, I think. Would you say describe that? Paul, you've seen it, haven't you, Paul?
Yeah. The acting in it and some of the characters are the best thing about it, but I don't think the story is really that interesting for me. That's why it didn't
Okay.
really grip me that much.
Adam likes
Personally.
films with that guy in from Walking Dead.
Stephen
I mean, it's only
Yeun.
that and Burning I've seen him in.
I know.
Been very good at both of them, I think.
You're a big fan
But yeah,
of him.
anyway, it's about the struggles of trying to set up everything where you've got all of this going on. We've got his mother-in-law there. It's just, yeah. I was very pleasantly surprised about how much I enjoyed this film. I wasn't expecting much of it. I just saw it kind of in the Oscar run and thought, okay. But yeah,
And the
Right.
grandma in it's wonderful.
yeah. She's a great little character.
Yeah. But there's a scene in it where they work in a factory where they separate chicks, whether they're male or female.
Oh, yeah.
And they put the females in one pile, the males in the other pile, and they just burn all the males.
That's right, yeah. Because
Yeah.
they're no good to them, yeah.
Yeah, don't like it.
No, well, no, certainly not.
Yeah.
Who would like it?
Adam.
Farming practice. Terrible farming
I
practices.
mean, you don't...
Terrible farming practices. They're no good to man
That
or
is why
beast.
he gave it a 9 out of 10.
This
Or
is
is
8
this
out
8
of
out
10.
of 10? Okay. He didn't like it that much.
All
It's
of them
fine.
until like number 5 are an 8.
Oh,
Okay.
really? You're a
I haven't got
harsh
any 10 out
marker
of
this
10s.
year. Oh,
Yeah.
well.
Well,
But anyway, I very much enjoyed this film.
Oh, lovely. Good. Well, that's on the watch list too. My number 10 is The Father, the Anthony Hopkins Alzheimer's dementia film with Olivia Colman. Saw it earlier this year. In fact, one of the few times that I saw Adam earlier this year. He went in for one film, I went in for another, and then we met afterwards. Don't know what you saw while I was in The Father.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
not an answer. But it was very good because it's about, I always like a film about Alzheimer and dementia because of personal experience, and when they're done well and differently, that's very interesting. And the thing that was interesting in this film was it was filmed from his point of view, like the point of view of someone with dementia. So when he looks at one thing and then looks away and then looks back, the actor has changed who's playing his daughter, or
Oh, wow.
the room that he's in has changed and he's now seated somewhere, and his confusion, your confusion is his confusion, and it plays out like that. So it does
that's
very very
cool.
good. There was like a video online about Alzheimer's years ago where you control someone walking down the street, and it's how someone with Alzheimer's would respond to just walking back home from the shops. All these different things that keep coming up, and it reminded me of that. But it's very very good, brilliant performances all round. That's not true. Brilliant performance by Anthony Hopkins. Coleman, yes. Supporting cast is not very good, which is why it doesn't get the 10.
okay.
That's what holds it back. If the whole cast had been top notch, it would have been a 10 out of 10. And the final scene really goes for the heartstrings, but it didn't quite work for me because it was too overwrought. But it was very good nonetheless.
It's one of those
I
films I
really
keep
see it.
really meaning to watch, and as
Yeah,
soon as
same.
it becomes available or I get a chance to watch it, I'll watch it.
Fantastic performance from him. Great performance from him.
Excited for that.
Yes.
Right, my number 9. It's No Time to Die.
Hey,
No one else got this. It's me now, isn't it?
no,
So-
mine was
So for me, I've watched all the Bond films, so it's a wonderful piece of
Well,
a
bully
little
for
bit like
you.
a little like Ghostbusters. It's like a little bit of like a nostalgic gem where it's like, oh yeah, playing back to those old films. I think especially that initial first 20 minutes, the action in it is absolutely wonderful. Fucking so good when he's like driving the car through where is he?
Yeah.
Where is he?
Italy.
Italy, yeah.
Italy. Yeah.
And without going into too much spoilers, I've wanted to speak about this with you
Okay.
for a while, but we have all the time in the world,
Yeah.
right? The song,
Yeah.
it features in a film called On Her Majesty's Secret Service,
Right.
which was the standalone George Lazenby Bond, right? And I don't know how much I can say. I might just say it. People just, it's fine. So, in this film, it's the only time that Bond has ever got married.
Yeah.
Right? He got married to this lady, and they're sitting in this car, and he says to her, "We have all the time in the world now," right? And then the song plays, "We have all," and that's the theme for that movie.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah.
In that film, she dies. Right? And as soon as they played that at the beginning of the movie, in this No Time to Die, I was like, oh look, it's almost like playing with me like this is a precursor to what's going to happen in this film.
Would you think?
So you thought she was going to die?
It means death.
right.
The song means death, and I was like, oh, see, and just that little like Easter egg was just like, oh,
It's planted
not saying
the
who's
seed
going
for
to
you.
die,
Yes.
but it was wonderful. I loved it.
It was. I did very much enjoy it. I was surprised about how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There was a couple of things throughout the film that did let it down, especially when I rewatched it, because I watched it about twice, about 4 days. There was, it did have its little issues and stuff. It could have. I feel like it is just very long. It's 2 hours 45. Like,
Is it 2:45?
it doesn't feel it, but it's, especially on the rewatch, it is long. And
I think Rami Malek was a bit forgettable.
Now there we go. You hit the
that's
nail
what
on the
I
head.
was gonna say.
That is why it's not a good. It's not a great
the
film
villain
because of
isn't
Malik.
him.
Malik's awful.
This film, the villain isn't really him in the film, is it?
No, but also he can't act. Rami Malek cannot act. He's the same even when he's a fucking villain. He's not a good actor by any stretch of the imagination. I thought he was weak as hell in this. I didn't believe him as that character. I didn't believe he was miscast. They should have cast someone fucking
He
better.
always plays the same kind of character, doesn't he? It's like really downplayed.
And he should have been scary
person.
in that role.
Yeah.
He should
It's
have been
because we've had these
threatening. He
amazing
wasn't.
villains. We've had like Mads Mikkelsen as
But you know what? That's the problem
chief.
with casting someone just based on like Oscar bars and big success. He got that role because of Bohemian Rhapsody. That's it.
And also, you got to remember when this film was meant to come out. It was meant to come out. Was it 18 months before it actually did? It probably might have been a bit of a different thought of it. But I do. It's one of the better Craig films. It's obviously not as good as Casino Royale and Skyfall, like Ben said it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
He goes one good, one bad, one good, one bad. That's how Craig's run has been.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
But it's a good. Yeah, it's a nice way to finish up this.
The thing
run
is,
of films.
before we watched it, we were like, we need a refresher on what happened in Spectre because we watched it, but we just couldn't remember the detail. And we watched like one of those 10-minute recaps on YouTube. And when you watch a 10-minute recap, you're like, fuck, that looks like a good film. But then I remember watching it and it's like, it's not because, exactly. You can tell it in 10 minutes and they just made it rubbish. Yeah.
The span's too long.
Well, but we all know, everyone, whether you've seen the film or not, we know that's the end of the Craig era.
Yeah.
So the next Bond film or 007 film, are we set up? Do you think we've been introduced to the next 007/Bond, or they got
what from that film?
Nah.
You don't think
think
someone
so.
from that film is going forward? Okay, all right.
No.
It'll be something different. They're not good. They said they're not going to do it for another 5 or 6 years now, so there'll be a nice gap.
If they're the lead 00 agent, I can't remember her name.
She doesn't have a name in it, does she?
Let's honour her by saying her name.
Oh, the actress's name.
Yeah. Lashana Lynch, right?
Yeah.
I don't think she was very good.
David Lynch's daughter.
Anna de Armas, if they made her the Bond, I'll be
Yeah,
up for that.
if they
She
had
was
more of that,
amazing in
then-
that film.
Anna de
In a
Armas
short
was in it
20
for
minutes.
Too short. She
Exactly.
should have had more of her.
And she
Exactly,
was by
that
far
is
the
it.
best
That's what made it so
character in
good.
the film. No, but you could have done with more of her.
We need a little bit more of her. I would have liked a little bit more Anna de Armas.
Of course, but that's what makes it. That's what
was
makes
hoping
it
she
sit
would
so
come
well
back
with
at the
us
end kind
because
of
it was
thing,
so
but-
small and so sweet, and it's like, oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Bring her back.
Anyway.
There's a lot of people out there who would be very cross at Bond for daring to, for the Bond films, for daring to bring in a black woman as one of the most prominent characters in this film. And someone that I spoke to recently said the trouble with this Bond film, and I can kind of see what he was saying. The trouble with this Bond film is that it's saying, look how woke we are and progressive, but only because of the terms you as a franchise already laid down. You are a inherently regressive, backwards, misogynistic franchise.
Her character wasn't that good in it. She didn't really actually serve a purpose apart from being thrown up on the screen. Actually, what she commits to the storyline, Bond just takes over from it every single time she has something to do. But anyway, I feel like we're going to get very close to actually really kind of spoiling this film. So
we won't say no more about it.
Very much trying on eggshells here, but
Anyway, anyone who has a problem about a woman becoming Bond, Just fuck off. 21st century. Who
Yeah,
cares?
of course, yeah. but my problem with that, it wouldn't be a problem with that. It would be my same thing as with Ghostbusters when they brought the women in to do it. Why would you want it? Do your own thing and do it better.
Yeah, I agree.
Bond is beneath you, ladies. That sounded very condescending. Bond is beneath you. You don't need a traditional male franchise to then become your own. Do your own and do it better, because we know you do and you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Saying ladies when I'm trying to be progressive.
Ladies.
Listen,
Yeah.
ladies, let me tell you what you need to do. It's my Dave Chappelle moment. Go on in, Adam.
Anyway, so my next film at number 9, it actually stars a Bond villain in it. I believe you've all seen this film. I think Ben might have seen it technically last year. I'm not sure. Maybe at the film festival, but it's really a this year release. It is Another Round.
I've seen it.
yeah,
I've seen it
okay.
as well.
I don't know if is it higher up on any of your lists or
Nope.
No,
Hey.
it was on my list last year. Let's hear it.
Yeah. I went in with a lot of expectations on this film, and I remember seeing it come out, and it came out at the same time as it did with Riders of Justice in the cinema. There was like the two Mads films came out at the same time for some reason, and I'd seen a lot of hype around it because obviously the whole ending of the film everyone was fucking talking about all over the place.
Yes, to its detriment, I think.
Yeah, it's like that's what you think the film's going to be, but there is a lot more to this film than that. If anything, obviously that is the bit you kind of remember, but the film isn't really, that isn't the film at all. It's not really anything to do with the film. I again, obviously very much enjoyed this film. It's 8 out of 10. The thing where it let it down is it did get a bit too maybe like sciencey with it all, and you could talk about Rise of Justice, Paul.
Yeah.
There's the same problem I kind of had with Rise of Justice as I kind of had with this, is they both got very serious in the way they talked about a subject. It was almost like
You wanted it all light. You wanted all the alcoholism to be very treated lightly,
but no,
eh?
it was like you were talking about it in a very like experimental way, but to a point where it's like this is meant to be a fun film. At the same time, you're not in a classroom.
Well, see, I didn't have a problem with that. I didn't have a problem with it going serious because it kind of felt like it needed to go that way. But the problem was the concept was a fun, interesting concept, and it's like, oh wow, this is a great concept. And then as it started executing it, they did some laughs, and then they went very, very serious, which is fine. But then it runs a little too long for me anyway. It goes on for a little too long, and the ending is the most
quite
damaging
jarring.
thing. Yes, I hate the ending so much. I mean, we won't spoil it for people, but the ending.
It's a very
is
jarring ending to the tone of the actual film.
Yeah, it is.
Before that, and I really do get it in some ways. It does work. It works on as many levels as it doesn't work for me. So that's why I still kind of enjoyed the film.
The concept is fascinating. The idea that just a little bit of alcohol in your blood system will bring your performance up ever so slightly. Not so much that you're like inebriated and drunk so you can't operate, but to give you that little, that like, you know, when you go into Dutch courage, yeah, that bit of Dutch courage. Like if we constantly just had Dutch courage in our system, we would all operate fantastically better as a society. I think we would, if that was the case.
See, that is the bit that fascinated me too. But then I feel like it goes in the wrong direction because then it's like, okay, now we need to test more alcohol, and it's like, well, you know what's going to happen with more alcohol.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
know.
you're going the wrong direction because we know you're just going to act stupid as a drunk person.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was alcoholism essentially setting in for all of them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always good to see Mads, of course. So
Yeah, Matt's fantastic.
That was number 9. So
good.
what's your number 9?
My number 9, Last Night in Soho. So I guess this is the highest that it goes. As time, this is another one that as time has gone by, a bit like Malcolm and Marie, as time's gone by, I've thought more about things that I didn't like about it than things that I did like about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think the key thing without spoiling things for people is the big problem, the main problem that everyone seems to have and that I have is the final act or reveal at the end. And the only way I'm sort of able to justify it to myself is Giallo films were made in that way. They had a final act which was ridiculous and unforeseen and unpredictable. And since I do think Edgar Wright was trying to make the London-based Giallo film. I think maybe he is aware of that, and that's why that final twist comes into play. But I think it undermines everything that comes before it, which is done so well. Apart from a couple of rusty performances, I love the setting, of course. Like Adam was saying, the thing about Enfield and Conjuring, but like setting a film in Soho, on the streets of Soho, making it a love letter to cinema and Soho in a very perverse way, resonated with me, particularly as it's an area that I go to a hell of a lot. But I appreciated the bravery of showing that the good old days were not the good old days. And with that nostalgia comes a lot of bad shit along the way. And I really liked how the men were portrayed, both in visions and in flashbacks and whatever, and the evolution of those men. We heard our dear Paul on guesting on We Watched the Thing podcast, and I think you and Billy said that you weren't a fan of the I don't know if this is a spoiler, so none of it's not a spoiler. Like the ghostly men, the ghost men. They fucking terrible. They're very scary for me. I was really scared by them. But then something happens with them at the end, right at the end, which is not so cool.
It's just trying to justify what kind of angle you're coming from. Are you trying to make this about women's power, empowerment, or like where is it coming from? Without trying to spoil an ending.
But the thing is, I guess it does work on different levels, because it's like, okay, you could do a film which is about put upon women, misogynistic men, downtrodden women, tragic ending for them. Or you could do that and also go, but also women, well, in the same way that I haven't seen Promising Young Woman, but in the same way, like, women can also have their revenge.
Yeah.
But, you know, the truth of the matter is,
levels, I guess.
I think him, what's he called? Edgar Wright doesn't know how to end a film anyway. I haven't seen a film with an ending that worked for me.
Shaun of the Dead?
Can't even remember that ending. What is it?
We mentioned this the other day when you said it. He's sitting on this couch with the zombie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but that's the very end scene. But what's the ending of the film?
They're in the pub.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's the ending? What happens at the end?
His friend sacrifices himself, and they raise up through the pub lift.
I'll try not to go into spoilers still.
Right.
But
yeah, but we can spoil Shaun of the Dead, surely. All right. Anyway, but yeah, I don't think he knows how to end a film. But yeah, this will be like the Great Enigma. Did he?
He does
intend
also, to be
do
fair,
that or not?
in all of his films. Thinking about it now, there always is like a big explosion at the end. Everything's just carnage at the end. Even if you think of like Baby Driver, for example, they got the whole bit in the car park scene. Like there's always that. It's almost like a final bang.
That's most films, though, really, especially in action.
Yeah,
film.
but yeah.
Yeah. Hang on. Did he do Scott Pilgrim?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, you know what? I said at the time that I thought that Last Night in Soho was his best film. I think it might actually be Scott Pilgrim. I'd need to rewatch both.
I think I'd agree with you.
What, that Scott Pilgrim's
Scott Pilgrim's better, not it's the best film.
Well, of course,
think
yeah.
Hot Fuzz is the best film.
Care for it. Yeah. Anyway, that Last Night in Soho. You can hear Paul wax lyrical on the other podcast if you want to hear more about it.
Yep. We watched the thing. Go check it out. My number 8. Adam's mentioned it. It's Riders of Justice. The other Mads Mikkelsen film.
Mads is all over our list this year.
I think this works so much better than Another Round.
Okay.
It is about a group of very damaged people coming together, whether that's damaged, like mentally damaged, or damaged as in they've lost someone. They all come together to, without trying to ruin it, this big accident happens, and these two scientists, they study the probability of the accident and whether the people involved and the way the accident happened, whether it was happened by accident or on purpose.
All right. Okay.
Right? And everything points to the direction of this has been, like, a hand's been forced and this has been happened on purpose, so someone's to blame.
Right.
So they go out for justice.
Right.
And the whole film is just about fate, consequence, and whether this whole thing has been created out of their own will to want revenge, or is actually what they say it is.
Yeah.
Very,
See, this
very
is this is the
interesting.
thing. I enjoyed the film. It took me by. I again didn't really know much about it. I saw the trailers of it, and then it came onto Sky quite recently, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll give that a watch." It is very well layered. This film, I think, It is a film that if it wasn't well layered, it could get old quite quickly. But again, the problem is they focus too much on the science side of it
I
and
loved it, mate.
explaining everything.
I loved it.
And everything they get
loved
involved with it all. It feels
Adam
very.
ain't got no time for science in films.
No, but
And the
it feels-
dynamic, the
dynamic's
between
great
the
between
characters,
everybody. Like
so
there's-
good.
everyone's
It's
a
funny.
completely different person known, and they're all coming together.
Yeah, you can see they feel like really damaged people. Like
It's
all the
almost,
cast.
it's almost like it sounds really harsh, but like you and people have that stereotypical thing of English people have of like Germans. Everything needs to be perfectly engineered. Everything needs to come to, and there needs to be a reason for everything to happen. And they over-explain why everything needs to happen. Without it doesn't have like a natural flow. It's almost like, no, we're doing this because we're telling you that this, and this happened. It's a bit like with the
But
Other
Adam,
Round, whereas
What
it's
you're
got that
saying right
feel.
now is what they do in the film, and hence creates the whole plot of the film.
Yeah, I know it does, but at the same time, they go too far with it. You don't need all of that.
I'm intrigued to watch this film just to understand what the fuck you two are talking about because I'm so lost with all this. But I need to watch it now.
I feel like I'm quite lost now as well. But
I need to watch that.
It's a very good film, and it's better than Another Round, in my opinion.
Okay, I'll be
That's
checking
all I
that
have
out.
to say
I will be
about
checking
that,
that out.
without any spoilers.
How did you see that?
It is
On
on Sky, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to wait then.
okay, next up on my list at number what's this now? It's number 8. Is it? We're number 8.
Yep, number 8. Yep.
Is a film called Nobody. I know you all know about this film, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Well, Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah. Another revenge
You love that film. Yep.
Oh, it's great fun. I very much enjoyed it all. I like seeing Bob Odenkirk in this kind of role, and just and without giving it away, it's just you're just on a revenge plot, and it's
Just
You love the extended Breaking Bad universe. That's your Marvel. That's your DC thing. Anything connected to Breaking Bad, you're gonna cream over regardless.
I mean, Aaron Paul's done some terrible films, and so has Brian Croissant. But
but I bet you still watch them all though.
I haven't actually watched all of them though. But yeah, it's great. I just say go watch it, and I don't think you really know. It's just a revenge film that's done well with lots of good action sequences, and a nice little plot that actually runs through it all and explains the reasoning for everything.
Does it feel like John Wick is the only reason this is happening though?
To an extent, yes.
Imitation John Wick.
It's not an imitation of John
John Wick
but-
light.
Yeah, in kind of some ways, it's kind of John Wick, but obviously he's not like a John Wick person.
No,
He's not like I've got a million set of skills kind of guy.
he's like me.
Not quite you, but he's got some
Alright,
skills,
Jesus.
but he's
I
not
know.
got a million.
Said
he's
that
got,
with his full chest.
he's got some skills, but he's not got a million skills.
Like me, I get it. Yeah, okay, I understand the comparison now. Yeah. I hope Bob Odenkirk recovers very well from his heart attack, and we
I so do I.
Yeah.
we want Better Call Saul. We need the next episode. We need the
Oh, yeah.
last season. Is the final
Is it
season,
the last
isn't it?
season?
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, reveal it, and then they'll do a spin-off of that as well, and it'll be Mike before Better Call Saul. The actor just keeps getting fucking older and older and older.
To be fair, Better Call Saul is very, very good, and if they kept making other stuff, if they make it as well as they made this, I'm all there for it.
I'm happy for them to end it with this final season, though. I feel like it's now got so far since Breaking Bad that it doesn't have the potency anymore. So we just let's just finish this story up.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, my number 8, Matrix Resurrections.
Oh, no spoilers, please.
No spoilers. I'll be very, very careful here because, of course, I know that Paul is very excited, so I won't give any spoilers. So what I will say is, so this is a 9. Oh, all of these are 9s, by the way. That I rewatched the trilogy in the lead up to it. With Jenny, who's the big fan of the Matrix films, and I rewatched the first Matrix, and I was like, "This is fucking brilliant! I finally get it. Now I get it. In a way that I didn't really back in the day. I was like, I clock this. I feel this now." And then the second one, Reloaded, I was a bit disappointed by when, in hindsight, I remember actually enjoying that one. So I was like, oh, not so good, bit messy, a little bit almost like the TV movie version of the Matrix is what it felt like. and then not Resurrections. What's it called? Revolutions.
Revolutions.
The third one, Revolutions, brought it back up again. And the thing that I realised about the whole trilogy that I like the most is stuff happening in the Matrix. I was less interested in what was happening in Zion and how Zion was presented, because I like the idea of a human race outside of the machines, and how we kind of were, that it was hinted at in the first Matrix, because they were all just on that spaceship. It was just them on the spaceship, a bit like Alien, right? So in Alien, you see them on the spaceship, you don't know anything about their home lives, you don't want to know anything about their home lives. So in Reloaded, when we got so much Zion, I was a little bit like, I in a way don't care about Zion now, you've removed something. But when you go back in the Matrix, that's what I feel for. So with all that in mind, and I like the third one, with all that in mind, going into this and knowing nothing about it, what I was presented with was probably the best version of the new Matrix film that I could have had in line with what I wanted. There are, how do I say things without even hinting at spoilers? I liked what they've done with the Neo and Trinity characters. Is feels like the brilliant next logical step in the series. I can't see the Matrix films without now seeing this one. I see it all as now connected, and the opening 30-40 minutes are very disorientating, to the point where you're like, I'm not sure I understand what's going on, and I'm not sure if I'm meant to believe this is real or not. And by the end, you get clarity. And it was very just thrilling. It was fucking thrilling all the way through. I liked the message. I liked the acting. I liked the performances. I liked... It's bold stuff from Lana Wachowski. It's going into new territory, and it will isolate some people. Jenny, unfortunately, and this is what I feel most bad about, Jenny... And I don't know, this may then ring true for you as well, Paul. Okay. She was not as much of a fan of it at all. Okay. Like I found it very hard to read in the cinema, and when we came out afterwards, like there were moments when we were watching it where I was so excited because I was like, "Oh my god, this is great! This is fantastic!" And a few emotional moments, and I was like, "Oh wow!" So when we came out, I thought, "Oh, she's gonna feel that. She's gonna." And afterwards, she was a bit like. She was like, yeah, no, there were good parts. There were parts that I liked, the parts I didn't. I was like, oh, no. And, yeah, there's not much more I can say. It can't be spoken about, really, without going into details of it. But, yeah, for me, as someone who isn't as invested in the Matrix trilogy, for me, it's the first one and this one that are top tier. Really, really
Which
top
is better?
tier. Oh, the original. The original, yeah.
Interesting.
The one thing that I will say, which I don't believe is a spoiler because you've seen the trailer, so you know, the thing that the film really does miss out on, and I can't quite see the logic, is no Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah. Okay.
And he apparently, like he said, they asked him why, and he said that he was just never asked. He said Lana Wachowski never asked me, and I don't really know why she made that call, because it's
Is it not both of them then?
No. It's just Candyman. Anyway, I'm not going to talk anymore about it because I don't want to hint at anything. But
Adam meant, is it not both the directors?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
that's why we were looking like, what?
Yeah, no, it's just Lana.
Okay.
Apparently, she said that after the death of her parents, they died in quick succession, and she was racked with grief, and she couldn't sleep one night, and she got up and she came downstairs, and she started writing this film as a way of sort of like resurrecting, because she couldn't bring her parents back, but she could bring Neo and Trinity back. I personally, really, really like. Did either of you watch Sense8?
No.
Okay. It has a lot of cast from Sense8, and from what I'd seen when Jenny was watching it, it had a bit of that aesthetic. It evolves the old Matrix aesthetic and brings new elements. So, I was really impressed. I was really impressed with it.
Fantastic.
In a way I wasn't sure I would be. Yes.
Lovely. Next.
We
have spoken about this film a lot. My number 7, but it took me this long to watch it. This is One Night in Miami.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. It was
you all spoke about it last year, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
Yes. what can I say? Absolutely, the acting is sublime. The message is amazing. The just to have all these powerful characters all in one room, just speaking their truths and fighting out what the right thing to go, how you should go about your lives. It's just so well directed. It's just so great. Such a great film.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Very good acting by all. Brilliant direction from Regina.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I need to watch it again.
I've
been meaning
just
to.
literally when you started speaking it, then I was like, "Is it still on Amazon? Because if so, I'll watch it again." It's an Amazon film, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an Amazon film. Yeah,
Okay.
that's why it took me so long. Because you both saw it at the festival, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
October
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, I got it on Amazon. I watched it. Yeah.
Again, like, you know, if you want it, maybe this was the film we were talking about when Fences was brought up before. But, you know,
Probably.
one setting, pretty much one location setting, loads of dialogue, characters. I love that shit. And the great thing about this one was that it was that, but it was also real people. And it was like a fictionalized version of what may have happened in that hotel room. That's what I like. It's like we can't know what the conversation was behind closed doors, but here's a dramatization that reflects where all these people were in their life. The best scene in that for me is when Malcolm X is talking to Sam Cooke about when he went to see him live, and the microphone cut out on stage, and he just started that foot thumping, and the sound carried through the crowd. And how Malcolm X was like, "I realised your power there, the control that you could have. You should use your platform. Look how you can move
Such a
people."
metaphorical scene.
Yes. Yeah, it was great. Really good.
Wonderful.
Next up for me then is a film. Again, I feel we've spoken about this film. It seems to be this. If I had to sum up this year in film, it would be through this film. I actually rewatched this film the other day because I had it highly rated. I had it at 9. It's now dropped to an 8.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's Malcolm and Marie.
Oh, okay.
We're dropping Malcolm and Marie has dropped like a fucking stone.
Yeah.
I did
for all
love it,
three
and
of
I
us.
still did love it. But then again, I took on all the points that we kind of spoke about it again since, and I can see a lot more of what we discussed in it. I still do. I do still think it's actually a fantastic film. Whether yes, there's probably some moral issues with it, and whether you side it, but you're not meant to. I don't think you're ever meant to side with him in the film. You're not meant to side with either of them. You're meant to just watch. In some ways, two fantastic actors just smash it out at each other. And yeah, like you said, there is some parts where he's just shouting as acting, but I don't see that is what the character is at that stage. I don't know how you kind of act it in a different way. It is just a powerful film. It is kind of just, yeah, it does leave you feeling something as well. Again, even the second time round, it was, yeah.
It is about the performances.
Yeah, and how if you don't get along with the performances in the film, you'll not get along with the film because the film is a performance-driven film. There's two
about
people in one house,
like a poisonous relationship. So it's, if you're not getting on with the acting, like
you're not meant to go.
like
You're not
the
meant to go.
characters
These two are
necessarily.
great people. At the end of it, you're not meant to aspire to be them at all.
Yeah.
No.
You're just
They're
And
constantly
then-
trying to one up each other with their spitefulness.
yeah.
I mean, but like, I can't remember. I don't think she was spiteful though. He was. She wasn't.
Yeah, she was a bit, but
I can't
yeah.
remember 100%.
But he was being spiteful about stuff she'd done before because I forgot about this, but he was saying when she cheated on him and all that kind of stuff. So he's obviously.
I don't remember that.
He was saying, she says to him, "How could you not thank me and all of this?" And he was like, "How can you not think I was ever there for you? I was there from the night when you went to the AA meeting and you never went home because you went home with that guy instead. I didn't leave you. I stood by you because I knew you needed my help." And all of that kind of stuff. So it's kind of almost like she's having a go at it for one night and he's having a go at her for like saying, "I still appreciate you. How could you not think I appreciate you?" Kind of, I've been with you every step of this way for your recovery.
It was good drama. I remember feeling that at the time because they would have blazing rows and then they would start making up and then they would have blazing rows again. And I remember being really caught up in that drama. But then I think it was just like, obviously afterwards, thinking a bit more about, I don't know, the detail of that character.
Anyway, yeah.
And also, like, it was interesting. The thing that was interesting at the time is also, like, if you didn't know that it was directed by a white man, which I can't remember if I knew that or not. It's like when you find that out after the fact, should that or does that change how you respond to it?
I completely forgot about that again, and I watched the film, and halfway through, towards the end, I think I was like, "Was this again?" Because he talks. There's a lot of bits of dialogue in the film.
He specifically makes reference to the fact that he is a black filmmaker and how certain critics assume that because he's a black filmmaker, his film should be talking about this. And it's like, if that was written by a black person or directed by a black person, there's authenticity then to what is being put on screen. But as a white person putting those words in a black character's mouth, that sits uncomfortably with me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But also, those two must have had some say in the lines of the film. They wouldn't have said it if they didn't want to say it.
Oh yeah, no, of course. But but Green Book, Mahershala Ali still acted in that film. He didn't think it was a racist film, but it's like, but by comparison, when you've got Black Klansman and then you've got Green Book and you've got white man saying, "Hey, racial relations, it's all happy. We can all be good if we just get along."
I don't think he's saying we can all get along. Like, it's not meant to be happy.
No, he was. He was like, "Look how we can connect. Everything could be fine." Like the white man just needs to show the black man that, hey, we don't have to all be like this. You can be a different kind of black guy, and I'll be a different kind of white guy. And
Spike Lee's like, eating your chicken, because obviously that's
Spike
not
Lee's
a stereotype
like, a fucking
right there.
car was driven by a white man through a crowd of black people just 6 months ago.
Yes.
What's more pressing to address?
Yes. Absolutely.
Anyway,
yeah, that was my.
Well, that'd be the last time we speak about Malcolm Marie. We spoke about Malcolm Marie back in January of this year because it was in our January wrap up, I believe.
Yeah,
and here we are talking about it at the end of the year.
It's that film that kind of, I feel, definitely defines this year of cinema.
Come end of the year, it only stayed in your top 10, yeah?
Yep.
Look at that. A lot. All right, was that number 7, yeah?
Yes. Whatever number we're at, yeah.
All right, number 7, June, for me. Had the IMAX experience, so that was very overwhelming as well, of course. But the old David Lynch Dune gets a hard ride. Like, Lynch doesn't like it either because the studio interfered and all of that. But I would say, in its defense, it was wacky and out there as an experience to observe. Whereas this Dune, incredible as it was also, it felt very much like a polished film. And the reason it doesn't get a 10 is it was just ever so slightly too polished for my liking, because it all felt very sanitized throughout its storytelling. So it's epic, it's great. I can't wait to see what happens in the next chapter. I do agree with you, Adam. It does feel like we need to wait for the second to really fully get it. But that's a criticism, really, because the film should still stand by itself. We should still be able to enjoy this.
It's an 8 out of 10. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying.
So they started taking you on the journey, but you haven't got the whole way yet.
Yeah, and it did feel like this film was slightly too long as well. It could have ended about half hour before it did, and instead we got what felt like the intro to the next film at the end of this film, and I feel like you could have ended it
maybe
before
that's probably why I felt like you've kind of almost got going and then it's bad.
I think so. If it had ended half hour before, it was. But I mean, he's a great filmmaker. I loved how fucking serious the whole thing was. Like I said at the time, there is just no levity apart from one moment in it, and it's nothing. So when you watch it, it's just like, ugh, we are very much so experiencing this fucking thing. There's no room for respite. But Paul, interesting. I think, Paul, you won't like it personally.
Okay,
I don't think you'll like it.
You say it's about a lot of films, Ben.
Well, we should reflect and see if I'm ever right.
I say, Paul, if you're going to watch it, I say now just wait until the new one's about to come out and then watch it like 6 months before, maybe.
Okay.
I feel like now it's out of the cinemas, you don't need to rush and watch it, if that makes sense.
You've seen the David Lynch Dune, right?
Yeah.
So nothing can be spoiled because it's still that story.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the David Lynch one, and I was gonna. It's come onto Netflix recently, and I wanted to watch it, but at the same time, I was like, I want to just watch this one first and then go and watch that one.
I mean, I tell you what's incredible about this one is that fucking score. Hans Zimmer fucking turned down Nolan to do this, and he made the right choice. He made the right fucking choice. Tenet suffered without that Zimmer score.
We had a lot of things suffering with it, but
Is it my turn?
It is.
yeah.
Okay, my number 6. This is The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Ben's mentioned this.
Yeah.
As you said, it is so fun for adults and children alike. children's, and like
Children's, all the children's.
all the children's. It's so funny. I had a little cry.
Did you cry? Did you?
I cried.
What
I cried when,
alludes to it?
I didn't like proper cry, but it welled me up when the daughter and the dad were on their little. They were flying at the end, and they were both singing the song.
Right.
I can't remember what song it was now. Do you remember?
No.
No, I can't remember.
I just remember there were rainbows around while they were doing it,
But it's just
further
such
reinforcing the fact that she wasn't straight.
Yeah, it's such a great laugh. The two robots were funny as hell.
They
the
were.
whole the dog bread.
Funny. That's the funniest joke in the whole thing. Yeah, it's so funny. Dog bread. Yeah.
It was just a wonderful little ride, and best animated film of 2021.
Yeah,
I guess.
I agree.
I haven't got an animated film higher than that, have I? I have not. No, it's the best animated film of 2021. There we go.
It was very good. I wasn't sure if I was going to gel with it in that first 20 minutes. It always takes me a little while because whenever they do the characters, like they're over the top voice acting and acting silly, they need to sort of like play it safe before they can break the rules.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good.
Great film.
Very, very good. Mitchell vs. Machines. Mitchell vs. Machines, ladies and gentlemen.
Adam?
Next up for me, we have a film that Paul mentioned earlier on. It's A Quiet Place 2.
Oh, yeah.
This
Go
is
on,
my
tell us why you love it.
9 out of 10 of this list.
Why do you love it so much?
I just feel like coming off the back of the first one, it was such an original and creative idea. Well, it was a very good spin on a film that no one's really kind of ever done before. And I feel like this film just did it. It just took it again at level. It's just a very good follow-up to the first film. I very much enjoyed the first one, and I very much enjoyed this one. I know Ben doesn't agree with them, does he? So
I'm just not. I don't want to see the next one because the first one was just whatever.
I remember watching this in the cinema. I think it's one of the first films I went back to see in the cinema as well in the new year. Huh?
Or he added to it.
Yeah, it was just kind of nice just to be back out there. I went to the Picture House and went out for drinks and everything and went to see it. I was maybe a bit drunk, but I
had a bit of a Last of Us vibe as well.
Yeah,
with the girl and the
see, and I don't like that. Too slow.
You don't like Last of Us?
Too slow.
It's too scary for Ben.
Yes,
Last of Us
it's very scary.
been fantastic, but
it's all that slow. It's slow as.
Yeah, I just had a thoroughly good time in this film. I know a lot of people don't agree with it, and I mean maybe not on a rewatch it might not hold up as much as I enjoy it, but at the moment I still really do enjoy it. It's 9 out of 10.
So you should, Adam.
What was that? Number 6?
We're number 6 now?
Yeah.
My list is all out of place, so I'm not
there's not going to be too much to say about this because we literally did an episode on it a few episodes ago. It's Ghostbusters Afterlife at number 6, the first of the nostalgia bomb. This top 10 list is full of nostalgia shit with some of the films that are on here. But,
Oh, yes.
I said everything there is to say about Ghostbusters Afterlife. None of the effects has been lessened a month later. Really enjoyed it. Very sentimental, emotional. Great for the new generations. Great for the old fan heads. It was fan service done right. And I will say one thing. Is that I saw Julio commenting on something recently where he was criticising fan service. He wasn't criticising this. He was criticising... I can't remember what it was he was criticising. I think he was criticising the new Matrix film, perhaps it was even.
Oh, yeah, I think it was. Didn't like it.
Yeah, he really didn't like it. And when he was saying when things are done for fan service, but it's like, hang on a minute. I know what you have given No Way Home, Julio. And I know nothing about that universe and intend to know nothing about that universe. I like living in the ignorance of it. But I know that is absolute fan service, right? So you can't say, oh, but because I'm a fan of it, it's okay. But if I'm not a fan of it, oh, it's a bad film. Because then what you're saying is it is completely subjective then, which is true. But then you can't give a negative review to something you're not a fan of because you're saying
very brave
it's pure
saying
fan
this when
service.
Julio's not here, aren't you? This is
Julio knows how I feel. Julio put it on my Matrix comment yesterday. Matrix Resurrections. He said we need to have. This is one of those conversations we need to have over a drink. And then I was like, oh, let me see what he gave it, and he gave it like 1 star or something. So this Ghostbusters Afterlife is exactly that situation whereby, okay, I think it works on two levels because it can work for people kids probably who've never seen a Ghostbusters film before, can come join this and enjoy it, and those who love Ghostbusters, watch it, enjoy it. Shitloads of fan service, but I also think if you're not a fan, you can get something from it.
My parents absolutely loved that film. They kept talking about it over Christmas.
What, Afterlife?
Yeah, they were never seeing it.
Excellent,
And
good.
I was like, oh yeah, I really enjoyed it. And they go, yeah, so did we. They never knew
good.
they like Ghostbusters that much.
sweet.
But apparently they
Look at
liked
all
it.
the generations harmonising. Wonderful.
Do you know what else people would enjoy?
What?
Our episode on it.
Yeah,
People should check it
definitely.
out.
No one enjoys that. It's just Ben.
Just check it out. We're having a great time.
We were having a great time.
We were.
You're my
Right, we're
number
into the
5.
top fives.
Yeah,
We're into the
top
top
five.
fives of the year. Let's have them.
Well, we've actually already spoke about this one. This is Promising Young Woman at number 5 for me.
God, she's had
I've
so
already-
much coverage in this bloody episode.
Yeah.
I've got to
Yeah, let's
see
just
it
talk
now.
about it
Carrie
here
Mulligan,
because
I love you. You did a great job.
Great job, yeah.
Bo Burnham,
Yeah.
you did a good job. Not gonna
Yeah.
say what happens to your character in that film, but it's fine.
So he dies.
About to say, that's just as big of a
No,
spoiler as
it just made you
saying-
think, oh, what do you
didn't
mean
have to
something
say
happens to
anything
his
She
about his
kills him.
character.
She kills him, and he dies because he attacks her. Clearly, that is
That's
the
what you think?
implication. Yeah, I reckon.
What if
I
I said
reckon.
you were wrong?
Well, then that's a spoiler.
Or what if I said you were wrong, but I didn't actually just say you were wrong?
Right. You played this trick with Succession before, where you said, "Oh," and I was like, "Right, okay, so he's alive."
It's a fantastic film. I watched it 3 times this year.
3 times.
Yeah. In the space of about 2 weeks.
That's a bit nuts, isn't it?
Yeah. It was really good. Still only a 9 though. I didn't give it a 10.
I don't think I've watched a single film this year 3 times.
Yeah. It's because I
watched
watched it
Judas
first.
twice.
Then I was like, oh, I want Zoe to watch this film. So I watched it with Zoe. And then Zoe's friend came over and she was like, this watch Promising Young Woman again. And I was like,
Fucking hell!
really? And I was like, okay.
Wow, we were.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll check it out when it becomes free because I have no money.
It's a
It's
Sky,
a Sky original.
film,
So
Oh right. Well, so what does that mean? I'll never get it for free streaming anywhere.
No, it'll only be on Sky.
Yeah. Well, fuck it. Give me your login.
I think you can buy the Blu-ray.
I'm not buying the Blu-ray.
I'll buy it one day, send it to you.
Yeah, all right. I've got a birthday coming up in a few weeks, don't forget. I'm only joking. Don't buy me that. Sorry, Adam.
I was going to say Promising Young Woman next, so
Well, were you?
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, look at you two harmonised.
sorry, I jumped in. You should have said something.
So it's
we were
gone
harmonised.
from
It's the same
Adam's
level,
other
so-
one. That's how far up it jumped, right?
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at
You've
that.
gone from your other list to number 5 in this one. Very impressive.
Well, it's
Very
a 9 out
impressive.
of 10. It's the beginning of the 9s.
Well,
Oh,
lovely.
I didn't realise you gave it a 9.
Yeah.
Oh,
Look at that. This is very high endorsement. I have to check it out then. My number 5 is, I know Adam's seen it, is Spencer.
oh yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
This goes up my list a little bit further, so.
This is on your list? All right, we'll wait until you talk about it then. Fine.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Paul's number 4.
My number 4. Ben's not gonna like it. It's the Suicide Squad. Yay!
Paddington 3.
We've also had an episode on this. Me and
Without me,
Adam
fortunately.
had a good time,
Yes.
didn't we? So did
Yes.
Scott.
Who was with it? Yeah, Scott. About to say someone else
Yeah.
with us. Yeah. I was actually going to rewatch it last night, but I didn't. We watched Godzilla
This
vs.
is-
Kong instead, but
Not only do I think it's a great film in its own right, but this is my world. This is my DC world that I just love and the characters I love. So it's a beautiful little package.
This is a song we've heard from Paul before, dear listeners. That the only rebuttal that I'm going to make on this comment, because absolutely it's your world and you love your stuff and you've got every right to love it. The only rebuttal that I will throw your way is because DC is and Marvel, but we're just talking about DC here, is so. There's so much that comes out of it. There's so many films all the time, constantly, for generations, constantly, lots of different filmmakers, different versions, different actors, loads out there. There's it's like having 50 ice creams to choose from, right? And you love ice cream, so you eat that ice cream and you eat that ice cream. You go, oh, I just love ice cream, so it doesn't matter. Oh, that one's walnut, that one's coffee, but really you love chocolate and salted caramel. They're your favourites, but then there's like mint and ginger, and you're like, yeah, it's not good, but I love ice cream. That is what I don't get,
Well,
because
No, but this is the thing. I don't rate all DC films high, do I?
you generally speaking, sir.
That's
generally
because if I
speaking.
generally rate them high, it's because I really like them. If I don't like Shazam, I give a 6.
Yes, but that's not really DC, is it?
It is DC.
I know, but it's not.
I've read Shazam.
That's a kiddie thing. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these stupid adults that are in there. The adult superheroes.
And they give me everything I wanted, and I'm hugely entertained. As Adam is. Look, Adam, he doesn't even read the comic books, and he was entertained.
I did enjoy it. It was. Did you see it? Have you seen it, Ben?
Yeah.
What did you
Doesn't
give
like
it?
it.
Oh, you gave it a 6, didn't
I
you?
give it 5.
5.
Okay. It's enjoyable. Yeah. It's not in my top.
Hell of a lot of fun.
Top 20, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
As I've said before, we've had this conversation before. I think you can love the stuff, but because you love the stuff, you can also afford to be more discerning and say this ain't up to scratch.
I agree.
But you think it was up to scratch, so
Yeah, it was up to scratch.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
If anything, it's like I should be
What'd you give
more
Batman?
let down when it's a bad thing.
What'd you give Keaton's Batman?
9.
Do you?
Yeah.
And Returns?
8.
So this Suicide Squad is better than Danny DeVito as the Penguin in Batman Returns.
Yeah.
I can say that.
I loved the Penguin as Danny DeVito. I don't like Christopher Walken in that film.
Why not?
No, I just don't like him in it.
Well, we're going to be doing that in the new year.
Good. Can't wait.
Anyway, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. It's for you. It's not for. It's
the only
not for
person
me.
who
But
matters if they enjoy it is you.
Exactly.
yes, I just yeah. I've seen how high they can fly, so I don't appreciate it when they fly low. That's what I'm saying about the DC films.
You've got to fly low to know when you're flying.
Marvel consistently flies low. Marvel just flies low, and then occasionally something pops up and goes, "Oh, that's surprisingly good." But DC should fly high, especially nowadays. You've got to have the Joker and the Batman. The Batman's going to be good. We had the Joker a few years ago. We've got the Batman coming up next year, and in between that, you've released the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that this Suicide Squad is on the level with them.
It's not.
It's better than the
Joker's
original
better.
Suicide Squad a lot.
Yeah, but up in the upper echelons, I'm saying, you know. Anyway, forget this. No one's opinions has ever changed by this
A lot
discussion.
of
We've
people
had this for
really like
fucking
the
years.
Suicide Squad, Ben.
One
so
day
you're
we're going to
actually
have
in the
this
minority.
conversation.
These
and it's
people
going
are
to be
stupid.
different.
I'm telling you that I don't care for these silly things.
You never told us that before, Ben.
No, I know. That's true. It's the silly that I don't like, really.
Anyway, shall I go on to my number 4? What's number 4 we're on?
Let's have
Yep.
it.
It's number 4.
This is a documentary, of course. It's a
Which
music
one?
documentary.
Oh, of course.
It's the Oasis Network film.
Oh, yes.
So it's a documentary film, concert, whatever you want to call it, about their weekend at Networth. And
And you think it's better than Supersonic?
no, I think Supersonic is the better.
Supersonic's
better-
broader. It's more
Broader.
about
This is
everything.
just one weekend, and it's all done from the point of view of the friends. It's all from the friends, fans. So it's interviewing. There's very little with the band in it. There is a couple of interviews and stuff like that, but it's all about fans, and it's all about what it meant for them and what the weekend had, and all of their stories, like the whole getting tickets, because obviously they didn't have the internet, so you had to phone up or queue up outside shops to get
old
tickets.
school. Yeah.
Yeah, about getting there because it's in the fucking arse end of nowhere. It's near where fucking Paul lives. Like, it was not sustainable to have 500,000 people go there over one weekend. And the legend around having a concert at Nebworth as well. Like,
Yeah.
the people who played there, like Queen played their last ever concert there. All of these type of things. I watched it in the cinema. I took some beers and everyone took some beers in.
In the cinema,
And-
did you?
Yes, and it was just nice. It was like everyone was like enjoying it. There's probably people who've been there before.
Were people singing in the screening?
People sung a little bit, but not a lot. I did because it was only out for like 2 nights in the cinema. And it was very much like you went on Twitter afterwards. There was loads of fucking people chatting shit about it. But I enjoyed the whole experience, and I finally enjoyed it. It's
very
probably
good.
not as I feel like also with Supersonic. If you don't like Oasis, you might enjoy the documentary. But I feel like with this one, you've got to like
enjoy
them
the
more
band. Yeah.
to enjoy the gig. But I did very much, yeah.
On that topic, because we can't bring it up, I started watching. I've watched the first part of the Peter Jackson documentary on
Okay.
the Beatles Get Back, which is just absolutely stunning stuff.
It's it's just incredible. It's just
It's such a shame it can't be included in this because I
was actually going to put it on my list, but I was a bit like, it's not really.
It's not. It's a documentary series.
Are you loving it?
Oh, absolutely.
It just gets. It's just
It's so immersive, man.
And then when I watched it all, I was like, what do I do with my life now? Like, I think I was Succession, and then I watched that, and it's kind of like, it's just...
The thing that's so good about it is because you're just in the room with them, and they're just like, well, let's try and find a song.
The greatest songwriters of all time, just they're almost like in third gear as well.
You know what it makes me do? It makes me really realise that it really isn't Lennon who is the genius. It is McCartney. It is McCartney. Paul McCartney is the one who's driving it forward.
By that point, Lennon had given up. That's the whole thing. This is why, if you watch the second and third episode, they do start to come. There is little ruffles between them because it's that whole time of.
We watched that.
They're all suing the crap out of each other at that point and McCartney was always the one that got everyone back to make a new album.
McCartney was the professional then. McCartney is there going, come on, we got to get these songs. And like George Harrison, George Harrison's great, and I really like him, but he took it too personally when he stepped away at the end of that first episode.
But he was saying, especially if you watch the next one, Lennon sits down and they have a conversation about it.
All right, don't tell me. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know.
Yeah, but it's like they're saying how the history of the Beatles is, that by this point, Paul was kind of shitting on George the whole time. For the last 3 or 4 albums, he was shit. The White Album, the final Beatles album, is the only one where George has a song that's like the actual song of the album. He puts something on it, which
While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Well, but that was just a song on the album. That wasn't the song. Like, Something is the song from the White Album, and you'll see him writing towards the end of it. He writes.
Okay, all right.
But the most magical moment is that bit in the first episode
where he finds Get Back.
No, when he starts writing Let It Be. When he just sits down on that piano and
when's he writing Let It Be?
He doesn't write all, but he gets the chord sequence to Let It Be, and he's just sitting on that piano, and they're talking to Ringo, and they're like, "What would you want it to be?" And he goes, I don't care. Can we just have 2 hours of just watching Paul McCartney play the piano?
Oh yeah.
And he's just sitting there, and he's just starting to work it out. It's just
Who would we be if we were the Beatles? Which one of us would be which Beatle?
You'd be John. Paul would be Paul.
I'd be John. Yeah. John is far too chilled out for me to be John.
I feel like you've always got your mind on other things, though. You always let so much going on.
You'd be fucking
Also,
Ringo.
you realise how fucking annoying Yoko Ono is in that fucking documentary.
Yes, I know.
Wet blanket.
We've gone well off topic here, but we've spent more time talking about that than something else. No.
Yeah, it's incredible. Get Back. I'm not watching.
Yes. That's the unofficial endorsement. Watch Get Back. It's on Disney Plus, everyone. My number 4 is a podcast that we did, again, not too long ago, a couple of months ago, Halloween Kills. It is still my third favourite Halloween film, continuing the nostalgia bomb that has been 2021 to get Ghostbusters and Halloween films this year, and for them to both be as good as they were. They had no right to be this good. What a great time to be alive. I'm looking forward to a year next year of no nostalgia films because I've just been inundated this year. I know Scream's a little less nostalgic because it came out later and they've kept on making them, but I don't think they're going to be able to live up. Scream is not going to live up to Halloween Kills levels of greatness because Scream kind of has nowhere to go. Scream, the first one, was great, very original, fantastic, like referencing the genre, everything that it did was incredible. The second and third and the fourth then progressively became her friends are going to be killed around her and you have to guess who it is, and that's all it was. And for the duration of you watching it, enjoyable, but beyond that, not too much. Sorry, Scott, if you're listening, I know how you feel, but not too much. And that fourth one particularly no gooder. This fifth one, I don't think you can say anything in the world to put Scott off watching Scream. No. Fifth is it's not going to be Halloween Kills level, but I'm still excited for it. But it's not going to be Halloween Kills level. I really have nothing to say on Halloween Kills. I've said everything that I had to say in that episode.
Check it out.
Yes. Didn't you rewatch it since?
I saw it. Had I rewatched it in the cinema when we did that record? No, I did it in the cinema afterwards, and just doubled down and said, still as good. Feel justified in everything that I said.
Okay.
Yeah. I could imagine. I can't wait for it to release in a few weeks. It's coming out on Blu-ray, and there's going to be the alternative ending, which I believe is the supposed ending where Laurie is on the phone to Michael at the end. I don't know how they're going to handle that. Apparently, apparently her daughter's phone rings. This is what I've heard. Her daughter's phone rings, and Michael answers it because she's ringing the phone, and Michael answers it.
And they just be breathing down the phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I've also heard something else about after Michael catches that. We're doing spoilers here, I realise, but we kind of did it in the episode. But in that, after Michael catches that beat down from the crowd, in the alternative cut, him getting up has been cut in such a way where it's much more epic and grand, and like it's framed in such a way that it's much more bombastic when he gets up, like a monster finally rising. So I'd like to see how that's done. Anyway,
interesting.
Halloween Kills, ladies and gentlemen.
My number 3 is going to be very short because I don't want to say anything. Just like I didn't want to hear anything about this. This is Spider-Man No Way Home. I gave it a 10 out of 10, and it's my third place film.
Oh, 10 out of 10.
It delivered everything that I wanted from it. And
I didn't even know you wanted anything from it.
I was sitting there, and I was like a kid with my eyes open, with a beaming smile on my face the whole way through the film. And it's absolutely wonderful.
See, I don't know whether I'm going to go see it or not. I was meant to go see it the day it came out, but then my flatmates
Don't bother, Adam.
And I was
you don't need to see it.
And now I'm like,
this is
for it to come out.
The one thing I say about this film: people with no connection to or any like for the Spider-Man franchise or the Spider-Man films, it's not for you. So just don't watch it.
Yeah.
Just don't watch it.
I'll watch it.
I had no idea that you gave a fuck about Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's probably in my top 3 superheroes.
I've never heard you talking about Spider-Man.
I love Spider-Man.
You never talk about him. Where's your Spider-Man t-shirts? You have t-shirts of everything you love. I've never
got
seen
Spider-Man
a Spider-Man
t-shirts.
You've never worn it in front of me, sir. That's how you know if Paul's a fan of something, because he has that fucking t-shirt.
Paul's got t-shirts of everything, though.
Well, I ain't seen that
I have
Spider-Man
t-shirts.
t-shirt.
My favourite things
Where's the Spider-Man t-shirt?
in my cupboard right now.
Well, let's see it in 30 seconds or it's not true.
I can't be bothered.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling too well.
You're not feeling well. Well, who am I to criticise? But I tell you what, I couldn't care less. I could not care less. And again,
That's fine. I know, and I know this is not for
because
the
of you.
diehard fans.
Not because of you. It's not because of you. It's because all of it's the anti. Not that cinema should be clubs. There shouldn't be a club for this and a club for that. But the Marvel kids make it about that. They make.
We
it
had this
about, "Here's our
conversation
club."
30 seconds ago.
Yes, I know.
We've had it 3 times today.
Anyway,
I'm on the mindset of I can enjoy all cinema, so I should be able to enjoy this and enjoy.
but you prefer the theme park cinema most
great
of all.
Scorsese films as well.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay. Anyway,
I'm very surprised you're giving that a 10.
number
I loved
3.
it that much.
Number 3 before you two start falling out again.
We not fall out. We have a nice discussion.
More shouting at each other. Number 3 for me is a film we did a podcast on. It was just
We're not
me
doing
and-
number 3. Oh, yes, we are. Sorry.
He's frazzled. He's gone.
Sorry.
You've got him. You've got him all razzled up, Paul. We
I'm
stopped
all
him
razzled.
We stopped him mid rant, so he's still got like a little bit left to burn off in there, and we did not let him do it.
I know.
Anyway, it's a podcast that me and Paul did. You weren't invited, Ben.
Power
What was
You
Rangers.
that?
were invited. I think you were busy.
Yeah.
It's Sound of Metal. Is held up throughout
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole year.
Oh.
Everything I compare it against. Again, I probably do need to rewatch it because it has been a while. But I found it a wicked film, powerful, emotional, and it just leaves you feeling something. And I really enjoyed it.
Good.
Not
It was
much.
very, very good.
We got a
I would
podcast
say
on
it
it,
was-
so
Amazing, but
Yeah.
It's 9 out of 10.
It was good. It was good. Good. It was good. But that's about it. So it's like, it was good. It was good.
yeah,
but
that's what
there's
it's like for me as well.
Yeah. There's not much
we've
more
got a
to go.
podcast
"Oh,
on it, so we can
Yes,
go listen.
all our thoughts are on that podcast episode.
Yeah.
Yes. My number 3, and I'm pretty sure you boys probably got this higher, so we'll probably wait, is Bo Burnham's Inside.
Ooh, it only gets number 3 for you.
Well, it's my number 2.
My number.
1. Well, we
Okay,
have to
we
wait
won't
till
talk
Adam
about-
gets to number 1.
Okay, so
Okay.
now it's Adam's number 2.
It goes right back to your 2, Adam.
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
This is a film that Ben briefly mentioned and was going to talk about, and I have been thinking about this honestly chopping and changing it, the two of them, which is going to be number one and which is going to be number two, is a film that has taken me completely by surprise. I'm going to thank Ben gratefully for this, because if he didn't mention it, I would never have seen this film. I saw the trailer for the film and I thought this film looks awful, and much to my detriment, I was so happy it wasn't. And I keep thinking about this film and I absolutely adore it, just because of how well, like, watching that film in the cinema was just an incredible experience. It's so immersive, it is so eerie, it makes you feel so claustrophobic. The score in the film is just, I honestly think it's
Johnny Greenwood's score, man.
I know, it might be one of the best scores on a film
Yeah.
I think I have seen in a very long time.
Do you want to tell the people what film this is,
I'm
by the way?
building it up.
Oh,
you
you're
little
building
knob.
it still. Wow, this is a big build-up.
I don't know, I felt like it. Yeah, again, I mean, it's also, if we were doing, I don't know if we're doing our performances of the year. Are we doing performances of the year this year?
Could do. I
We
haven't
used to
thought
do
about it, but could
anyway, if it's not, this is, she gets it for me. And it's maybe look at the actress in a whole different light. I actually watched a film the other day called We Are the Rileys, Welcome to the Rileys, which
Right.
has got James Gandolfini in it as well, and he takes her under his wing, and she plays a 16-year-old stripper, and he's like, his daughter dies, and he kind of goes on this trip away, and he sees her, and he kind of makes her his own daughter, and it's quite... But anyway, the film is Spencer, and
Got there in the end.
yes,
And then move on to the
I
next
actually
person.
saw this film, and the thing is as well is everybody who I've seen this film thinks it's like exactly the same. It's like, you don't think anything of it, but you watch it, you go watch it, and it's just this like horror film. It's like, that's like the best way to this thriller.
It is a horror film, yeah.
There is certain parts of the film that I don't like that lets it get down, and that's probably because of the overall subject of the film I don't really care about. But it's not, yeah, that's...
It's the power of the film
Two
that you could be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I don't really care about the royal family. I don't really care about Diana. I'm not that interested. But it's like, no, because it's about
almost-
her,
yeah.
but it's about anyone who could be in that sort of situation. Not
Yeah, it's
literally
like
that situation, but trapped.
You could the power of the film is you could tell this story with somebody else in the same thing and feel the same way. That it's not, the story isn't good because it's Diana. It's good because it's a fucking good story and a good
Yes.
film.
And it is like a horror film. It is The Shining. I said it at the time. It is. It's The Shining set at Sandringham.
Yeah. Anyway, I
Fantastic
this film's
performance.
incredible.
Fantastic performance. Great score. Great storytelling. Reasserts everything you probably think you already know, and then some.
Yeah.
And who's that guy? The British guy. What's he called? You know, the guy who's sort of he's always sort of following around. What's that guy's name? He's in
What's
loads
his
of British
name?
films. He's in
He was
Sweeney
in Harry
Todd's
Potter a lot.
Yes.
He's got like a piggy kind of face.
It's not Rose.
Oh.
What's that guy called?
What's his
Is-
name? I'll look at
Timothy
Spall.
Yes, Timothy Spall. Yeah.
Yeah, Spall.
Very good in it. Very, very good in it. But yeah, Kristen Stewart is the standout for sure. And I like the fact that they don't actually give a lot of attention to the other, the royals.
Even the Queen doesn't
Barely.
get really a look in.
No. And then she does, at one point, the Queen gets like one sort of bit of dialogue.
She has a
And
moment
what she
with
says
her,
is
doesn't she?
interesting. It's like, what are you saying here?
Yeah.
But again, the other thing that works well for Spencer is that up front they kind of say this is like a Brothers Grimm fairy tale version
Yeah.
of events that we assume happened.
I'm
Yeah,
interested in that.
great. I think this only came out a couple of days ago. Fortunate enough to catch it at London Film Festival and absolutely blew my mind.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Okay.
wonderful. It is Titan.
Yes. I really
Stunning
do need
film.
to, I wanted to get this in before the end of the year, but it's not. I don't think it's officially out yet, is it? It's
Yeah,
kind of
Boxing
like,
Day.
It did
Came
come
out
out
Boxing Day.
because it was originally a New Year's Day release, I think. But yeah.
Well, it's out there, and
Oh, well, yeah.
I can I only recommend. Well, I can't recommend it because I don't know.
Who's going to like it and who's
This
not?
is completely subjective. This film. The reason that I liked it so much was because I interpreted what was happening a certain way, and you could watch this film and not have the view that I had on it at all. But I watched it and I viewed it as, well, this is quite clearly to me about this, and in doing so, everything that happened made sense because it is wild. Like visually, it's crazy. The things the characters do are crazy. The progression through the plot is jarring and strange, and you're like, well, how has it gone from this? What did that even mean? Why were we seeing this? The style, it was just, an amazing fucking experience. It was like the power of cinema because it was so glorious to watch it. I was in awe of it because it was so fucking brave and challenging and controversial all the way through. And I'm like, by the end of it, my own feelings about certain subjects had been questioned and challenged and sort of blossomed. I feel like I evolved my understanding and my point of view on a certain way of life based on this film, and it is to the filmmaker's credit that she did it, and I can't wait to watch it again. Absolutely fucking brilliant.
Yeah, my housemate's also been obsessed with this film. He went to see it on Boxing Day, like that was his thing. But I'm gonna try. Yeah, I'm gonna try and see it. I'm off the first week of January, so I'm gonna try and grab it. Then
I'd be interested to see what your take is on it.
I know.
By the way, this and Bo Burnham and my number one are 10s.
Yeah. And I think your number one is also a film I want to see next week because I think it comes out next week.
It will be, yeah.
Okay.
But Titan, I think for our international listeners is the one that you'll get to see because I don't think my number one will reach you guys. Whereas
he's not
Titan
looking
will.
at the moment. We'll talk about him, so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
My number one.
Yep.
What is this? I don't
number
know.
One. You
I
should
don't
know what
know.
it is. You should know what it is.
I should know.
There's only one film that's going to be my number one.
Stop.
Justice
right. Yes.
League.
Okay.
Yes, of course it is.
I always thought that was last year still for some reason.
It was early this year.
I have two big loves in my life, other than the people
Spider-Man.
in my life.
Spider-Man.
And that is the DC universe and film. And when they come together, it is just the most beautiful bit of chemistry. And it just makes me feel so good and it makes me so happy. And this film was the ultimate medicine for me. It was absolutely amazing. And it felt so good that it was just this 4-hour epic that just spanning such a long time and it feels like you're in that journey because you get sucked into this story, and I just loved it in every single way.
Well,
it's just completely me. It's completely me, and this is where it comes down to. It's like, what do you want from film, right? And at the heart of it, you want an entertaining story, right? That's going to entertain you, and what better than the stories you love reading, and that is any DC stories, and this is just the ultimate version of that for me, and that's why it just touches my heart so much.
You gave the original an 8 out of 10, didn't you?
I've put it lower now because the more I think about it, the more it annoys me. It's like, I think it's like a 5 or 6 now.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, just because there was
just
always
the whole thing around that film just annoys me.
And the Batman vs Superman, I couldn't remember what was the one that you loved and everyone hated. And
That's Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
Ben said that so grudgingly.
No, I'm just saying.
Huh?
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But
In love.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm very glad you enjoyed it.
I'm so glad
for
you
you,
enjoyed
it's
it.
not
I can
for
see
us.
why you would. Yeah. If it features my fucking best of the year, it's got to be right up
That
there
shows something.
for you as well. Yes. Would you prefer it, Paul, if they didn't release them as often, but did them higher quality?
They don't release them that much.
No, the DC films.
Yeah, they don't.
Oh, mates, there's a DC film every year.
Yeah, sometimes 2 a year.
Exactly, that's a
That's
lot.
perfect amount.
Okay, all right, yes. You know
If
what
anything,
I mean. You know
if
what I'm
anything-
saying.
If anything, I'm like, oh god, how long I got to wait for that film?
Yes.
He's saying like every 3 years they release one
Yeah, like
film,
every 3 or 4, like a Bond film. If it was more like that.
I don't care
so
about
they were more
seeing
of
a Bond film every year.
No, I'm saying if the DC films were more like, but now there's not going to be another one for it. So you get Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it's like, right, you ain't getting the Batman for another 4 years.
I would be
Much
very
more-
upset.
But greater anticipation, and then they get a chance to stand by themselves, because I think there's to Marvel much worse, but because there's so much at once, you don't get a chance to actually enjoy and really feel that film, because already another one's coming on, and then it's like, right, now we're on to this one now this is the thing, and now we're on to this one now, and now this is the thing.
It doesn't bother me.
Because
I love it because I love lapping it all up.
What was your highest DC from last year?
What was last year? 2020.
Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey. Yeah.
But do you think about that?
Yeah.
Tell me what you're thinking right now.
What do you mean?
He's thinking about the colour of Harlequin's hair, whether it's
Yeah,
green
the
or
colour
blue.
of Harlequin's hair, whether it's green or blue.
Yeah. It would be nice, don't you think? I'm saying, I think this is what would be good, is that if we got to a point where cinema, and this goes hand in hand with the whole big Scorsese superhero movie dialogue that's been going on, take Scorsese out of it, if we could just get to a stage where these films still get made, but not with the frequency that they're made, because they're made so frequently, there's more chance of crappy ones being made, because we just want to get a lot out of the gate. It's like, let's flood the market, because we know we're going to fill movie theaters with it. So if you then held it back, so you've got more time to release the Jokers, the Justice League film, the upcoming Batman film, the Nolan films, all of that spaced apart like that would hold much greater power if it was like, this is the DC universe, look how strong it is. Marvel can keep washing out all the pitiful stuff.
Potentially.
And we look down the nose at Marvel because of it.
For outsiders, yes, but for me, I was going to love it no matter what.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like if someone gave you a craft beer, but you only have one a year.
Yeah, no, I know, but like with craft beer, I know what I don't just like any craft beer.
I don't just like any film either.
No.
I like the
DC.
idea of the DC universe, but doesn't mean I'm going to 100% like the film and be on board with it.
Yeah, I want better for DC. That's what I'm saying. I don't want DC to get muddied in with Marvel. That's what I'm saying, because Marvel is terrible. I like DC. I like
fine.
DC. I don't like Wonder Woman, but
You're telling the wrong person. I can't limit the amount of films that
We've
are coming
had
out.
this discussion 4 times now.
Yes, but Adam, we need to have the conversations. We're a film podcast. I was watching the trailer for Souvenir Part 2 yesterday. Before
horrendous.
Licorice Pizza, right?
Yeah.
But it looks very pretentious. But Richard Ayoade pops up in the trailer, and I think I don't know what he is, but he says, when you're analysing film, don't just tell me it was great, it was wonderful, you loved it. Tell me why it was great, why it was wonderful, why you loved it. And that's what I'm trying to do here, Adam.
I know. But you've had the same discussion you're arguing about Marvel now rather than about the
I'm
film.
not arguing. I'm having a discussion. Let's move on then. Fine.
Should we talk about our Justice League and when we all come together here?
Yes.
And fight down the power. And I think this is probably the one film we can all agree on this year, isn't it?
Yes.
It's Bo Burnham's Inside, which is my number one, which I know, yeah. And we've talked about, again, this film at great length. This is probably another film that I used to sum up this year as well. It feels like, again, we watched this film very early on, didn't we? It kind of came out, was it March time?
I think it was
the beginning of
May.
the year.
I think it was May.
Okay. It feels like it came out earlier than that. It's a film that I used to find this year. And yeah, it's just absolutely fantastic, isn't it? It's just a great body of work. And also you can enjoy it in so many different ways. Like you can enjoy it as a film. It's really it's like our film busters, to be honest. You can enjoy it as a podcast. You can enjoy the video version of it. You can enjoy it in little snippets here and there when you want just that little bit.
Audio or video version will
Yes. But,
Such a talented guy.
Yeah.
I get something out of every single song.
Yeah.
I don't think there's. What would you say would be the weakest song?
I think the weakest song at the moment is probably the Jeff Bezos song. It became popular and it kind of annoyed me from it because there's a lot of people that just know that song and they don't actually know where it's from and they don't know what it is and all of this.
Yeah.
And that kind of, it's not a bad song.
Great
In
little
the
sting
actual-
though. That little digga 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 digga.
Yeah, it's just annoying that it kind of got taken by TikTok and the internet and they ran with it. But apart from that,
they're all pretty much great. I think there's one which I can't even really remember all that well. It's not the one about sexting, but that one doesn't stick as much. Like it, that's kind of funny. But there's another one that's similar to that. I think it's where he's what's the one where he's making himself out to be like a Calvin Klein model and he's posing all the way in the video, but I can't remember what the song is, what the lyrics are about.
When he's got the projector.
Yeah, well, he's got a fucking projector throughout most of it. What is that one where he's...
That's why I can think of the sexting one. He's against the projector.
Yeah.
Maybe it is that. Maybe it is that one. So here's the songs in order. So Content, which is great, that intro one, because he does that projector off the disco ball, which is a fucking brilliant idea, and the song is good. Comedy, that was good. FaceTime with my mum tonight, brilliant.
Yeah, phenomenal.
How the world works. Actually, that's probably my least favourite because I like the sentiment, but the song is annoying. I just like the end bit where he has to shut the puppet up.
Yeah.
White Woman's Instagram, that's fucking fantastic.
Yep.
Unpaid Intern, that's not great, but it's very short.
I don't remember that one though.
It's the
Just like a sting.
jazzy one, yeah. Bezos one, Sexting. Look Who's Inside Again, great. Problematic, I know you like that one, Paul. I do like it. I'm not as a fan of that. 30, kind of fine.
That's when he's
Now I'm turning 30.
Oh no, here it is. This is the one that is my least favourite. Shit. Yeah. The one where he's DJ, how you feeling out there tonight? I'm not feeling good. Blah, blah, blah. Feeling like a bag of shit. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's anyway, the whole thing is wonderful.
Though. Yeah.
And it was
it's hard
great.
to make a bad thing out of it, but yeah.
It connects to the whole COVID locked up inside.
Yeah. Such great commentary on
anxiety and everything.
Social media,
yeah.
on the world, on the stupid people.
Yeah. Yeah.
People obsessed with fame.
Yes.
It is great. It was transcendent. It's a shame that it wasn't our number one for all of us this year, but I kind of felt funny. Like it had to be included, but it would have been like, I mean, what does constitute a film that we can include on these lists? You know, it is a film. How do you define what a film is? It is a film. It's not a comedy special.
No. But yeah, anyway. As we've all agreed and we've said many, many times throughout this all, congratulations. Anyway,
congratulations to all of them.
Ben, to round it up.
My final one, you've heard me talk about it before, number one film of the year, and it is made by one of our patrons, Philip Barantini, it is Boiling Point with Stephen Graham, and the film, it works on the level of being brilliant cinematically, what it's doing with the filmmaking, but also with the story. So you join the film right at the beginning. Stephen Graham is just outside his restaurant. He's a chef, head chef. He's about to go into the restaurant and work a shift. And you follow him, single camera, one take from the moment he enters that restaurant through to its crazy fucking climax. It's about 90 minutes, 100 minutes. How they orchestrated it is beyond me. But it is like, I mean, they do it in theatre, but in theatre, everything is stagey. They've got lots of people moving and changing sets behind the scenes. People come on and off for brief moments. But in this film, it's like, listen, if you had fucked it up in the last 5 minutes, you'd have had to redo the whole thing again. I don't know how many takes they went through, but
they did one.
No, but I mean, in order,
they did
like
two,
how many times
they
went
through
entirely.
Or Francis told me about this. He said they did 2 takes. And they said it happened, they filmed it on the day. I mean, if Phil's actually listening, he might probably tell us differently.
Well, yes, he might be listening to tell us.
Francis said that when he went to see it at the Prince Charles, part of the London Film Festival, and there was a little. It happened the day before lockdown happened, and they all got to the thing, and they were all like, "Fuck, we don't know what's happening." I mean, that stage when everyone was like, "If we don't get it today, we don't know when we're going to get this film again." So, we could get shut down today, we could get shut down tomorrow, whatever. They did 1 take in the morning and they did 1 take in the afternoon, and they used the take they did in the morning.
Well,
I'm going to go see it next week. It comes out. The only screenings I can see for it at the moment on the 5th of January.
Yeah, there won't be very many. I wouldn't imagine.
There's a couple of had the Curzon and stuff, so I'm going to go see it next Wednesday evening.
It is out, I shall tell you, because
it comes out on New Year's Day, I think, or whenever, but
Barantini himself said, it will be released on the 7th of Jan in cinemas and on digital, so you can watch it from home. You'd have to go to cinema. Simultaneous
I'm going to
release.
go watch it in the cinema.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to. It's not necessarily whatever. Yeah, go and see it in the cinema. But brilliant, and all about characters and very tense and stressful and chaotic and anxiety inducing.
I cannot wait to go see it.
And the stress and the tension works because not only the environment, the working environment they're in, and everything that starts happening, but because you are aware that it is one take, and you're almost waiting to catch that.
You can
one
see the
thing.
stress in the actual actors as well.
Yeah.
They don't want to be the one that fucks it.
But there isn't a single thing that I could see that was like, you probably would have just done that bit differently, because it just feels so real. Anyway, Boiling Point, number 1 film of the year, Barentini, baby,
Can't wait to see that.
and that's us.
Right, shall we see what Jamie's top film of 2021 is?
Please.
Well, I've only actually seen 41 films from this year, which is approximately 10% of the total films I've watched. There are still several that I do plan to see, but arguably not the strongest year viewing-wise for me, to the point where I actually only gave 2 5-star reviews on Letterboxd. And thank the Lord for Letterboxd, others I really would have struggled for this. But I gave 1 5-star at the beginning of the year for Malcolm and Marie, and I suspect on rewatch that film will go down. Perhaps I was a little bit overexcited at the beginning of the year, and I imagine that would probably go down on rewatch. But I have to wait all the way to the end of the year before I select my next 5 rating film. Actually, I had 2 in a row. I had another round, and then I had Jane Campion, The Power of the Dog. And it's between these 2 films. I love them both. Of course, Another Round resonated very particularly with me as a 40-something teacher myself. But I'm not on the verge of experimenting with drink just yet. Maybe give that a year or 2. We'll see. But no, I think I'm going to go for Jane Campion's The Power of the Dog. I imagine this film won't be to everyone's taste, but I just love the slow burn dynamics, the excellent score, and what built up to becoming a truly memorable final act. And I think this is a film that I really look forward to rewatching, which is something arguably I can't say for many of the other 2021 films that I watched this year.
Okay.
I haven't seen A Power of the Dog. Weren't you
I
supposed
saw
to...
it,
And?
and I didn't enjoy it.
Oh.
I saw it. I didn't enjoy it, but then I went up to Jenny's mum's for Christmas Day, and we spoke about it, and she really loved it, and she said some stuff that I hadn't thought about, and it's like, yeah, I can see that.
Ben told me I wouldn't enjoy it, and I didn't enjoy it. So well done, Ben. It's very the few times he says you don't enjoy a film, and he's right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I found it hard going, to be honest. It was too slow. That was
Interesting. Do you have Julio?
Let's have Julio.
Even though I've watched so far 204 movies in 2021, out of those 204, only 34 are 2021 releases according to Letterboxd. That's 16.7%. Anyway, even if I'd watch maybe 100 2021 releases, there's a good chance that my number 1 would still be the same, and that is Spider-Man No Way Home. I am so sorry, Ben. It's just a dream movie for a Spider-Man fan, which I am. It is 100% not made for casual fans, so that's fine. I mean, I'm rating it for what it means to me, not for what it means to the world. Also, somebody has to represent the MCU over there on Filmbuster Central. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Julio, agreed. What you said, and as I said earlier in the episode, absolutely, yeah,
That's
for
exactly
sure.
what I said.
But Julio, I'll tell you something. I fucking loved Halloween Kills, but I know that it isn't the perfect movie, so I didn't give it a 10. You give No Way Home a bloody 10, do you?
Yes. Because I think
Yeah.
it's perfect.
No, I'm saying to Julio.
Oh my god!
Oh, no, he gives it a
We're
9.
going to have this conversation.
Oh, he gives it a 9.
Julio gives it a 9, yeah.
Yes. Well, no, I'm glad for you to enjoy that stuff. Julio is a Marvel boy, and you're a DC boy, so you get your spoils. Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm very glad. But I'll tell you what, it ain't a fucking 9 or a 10 out of anything. I never even watched them original Spider-Mans.
Well, it
they're
definitely
quite
won't
good.
resonate with you at all.
No, exactly. I just know Willem Dafoe comes up.
Willem. Oh.
Well, thanks. And that was the end of 2021.
That's it.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts,
Thanks for
boys,
joining us.
and
Thank
your
you
number
for sitting
one
with us
watches.
for this epic record.
I will
This
be
is definitely
adding
our longest
everything.
record, isn't it?
It's possible.
Possible,
It's
yeah.
nearly 4 hours. This is like
I know.
Justice League levels.
We've gone on for a long time today, and poor old Paul's had COVID, and he's flagging
Kind of flagging,
by
yeah.
every second. So I think we should just wrap this up and say
Peace and
thanks.
love.
Thanks first of all to
Joining us all
my
year.
fellow co-hosts for being such pleasures all year
Thank
and
you.
having nice conversations every other week to talk about films. Even when we argue, we don't really argue. We're just having fun together. We like talking about
We just
films.
let Ben rant and then we just ignore him.
And also, a special thanks to Paul for editing every single one of these episodes all along. Because once we get off, me and Adam go off and do other stuff.
Yeah.
But it don't end there for Paul. Paul then
I've
has
got
to
to go for
spend
another
hours.
probably 8 hours to edit this episode.
Exactly. To tidy it all up. And so for that reason, we got a little prize for him. And he'll find out soon.
Price.
Yeah.
We've created a COVID cure. And we're
Oh,
going to
wonderful.
inject it straight into your eyes, and in about 10 minutes, you're going to have no COVID in your body.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm looking forward to talking shit and talking film throughout 2022 with both of you boys again.
Hells
Hopefully we'll
yeah.
make it to the end.
With a clean slate.
Yes, boy. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
Peace and love.
ladies and gentlemen. And we'll see you, along with Jamie, for RoboCop to begin the round of 1987 films.
Hell yeah.
See you all on the other side.
Goodbye.
Tales Masters.